us now because we had some technical difficulties that were on my side. So it's a tentative hello. I can see the green on the mic, so it must be all right.
We can hear you now. It's great.
Wow. Thank you for joining us on the World Riichi Championship YouTube channel. I have to ask you to like and subscribe before I'm allowed to proceed any further with the introduction script. Please do like and subscribe. Honestly, it makes Jen very, very happy. And when Jen's happy, the world is a better place. So let's do it for Jen, if nothing else. I'm Gemma, not Jen. Sometimes people confuse us somehow. I'm the president of the World Riichi Championship. Our amazing broadcaster today is the American Riichi Mahjong League A1 champion, Nathanael. And I think this is our first appearance, both of us, for 2025. So Happy New Year, all of us who are joining.
And to all the viewers as well.
So, our first Friday. I'm pretty sure there's some Friday-only watchers, school night and all of that for Thursday. But we were also on stream yesterday. So if you missed that, do go back and watch the video on demand. But later we're going to be joined by I am outnumbered by American Riichi Mahjong League A1 leaguers today, Harrison and Arthur. I'm going to be commentating with Harrison. I'm quite excited about that because he only debuted yesterday on our commentary team. So I'll be really excited to see what kind of style and flair he brings to Mahjong commentary. Yeah, unfortunately, I was watching last night and then I fell asleep.
You missed a really exciting hand. He got the perfect game to see in his debut yesterday.
Oh, well, I better be watching the VOD then. What am I doing all day? Stupid work. But tomorrow I'll be watching the VOD. So join me watching the VOD. And also, as a celebration, because we reached our end of year goal subscriber count, which was 500. So we're well over that now. 519, I think, at the last count. 519 is a very awkward number. I like even numbers. So for my OCD, please do register in twos in future. Thank you. But we are currently holding a book giveaway. So everyone who's subscribed to our channel is eligible to enter. You just need to click on the link in the description to complete your entry. So the first place will be a fresh, brand new copy of Jen Barr's Riichi Mahjong, The Only Way to Play. That's going to be signed. So you may have had Jen's previous book, which had a very similar title. But now she's updated it with some more strategy content and some more up-to-date information about World Riichi Championship as well as all things. So definitely worth, if you're subscribed already, I don't see why you wouldn't enter, to be honest. And then with that first place, you also get the Riichi Mahjong study book, which was Jen and Garth's creation, and then the Riichi Mahjong prospective. I did enter one article for that. So, and there's a picture of me at the young age of 20 as well, so you can laugh at that as well. Second place is a signed copy of Jen's book and the Riichi Mahjong prospective, and third place is the Riichi Mahjong prospective and a Riichi Mahjong study book. So make sure you register. As I said, I don't see why you wouldn't. There's no detriment to you. So we have two sponsors. We have the United States Professional Mahjong League, who have a place in a Mahjong studio in Manhattan, right on Manhattan Island. It's an absolutely fabulous place. They've got full automatic tables, and I spend a lot of my time very jealous I can't live in Manhattan. And the other sponsor is the World Riichi Championship. I can't read the next bit of the script because I feel a bit embarrassed. But I'm going to quote this: the most prestigious and international mahjong tournament in the world, held once every 3 years, and the next one will be in Tokyo 2025. So I know some of you will be furiously trying to qualify, or maybe already have qualified. So I'll be really excited to welcome you at the event in July. But we've got lots of other ways to engage with World Riichi Championship outside of the main event in Tokyo. So there's the World Riichi Online Team League, which some of you may be participating. This is the 3-player version, so it wasn't quite as popular as the 4-player version, but it's still a huge pro-ama league with professionals from multiple professional leagues in Japan and players from all over the world. The WRC commentary is currently in 69th place.
Oh, you know what? We'd be higher. I'm sure we'd be higher. I just didn't get the chance to play the first day.
Okay. That's so the good thing about the format of the online team league is you don't have to play every Saturday. You just have to make sure you play 30 games over a session, over, I think it's 2 months this time, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, you can get, for 3-player Sanma, you can get 30 games in pretty easily. But the top 9 will make it to the finals. Phoenix Warriors, who really did very well in the last online team league. They're from Hong Kong. They're currently in 14th place. They made the finals for the previous online league. And Snake Shack from America is currently in 18th place. But the next session is tomorrow. So you might be seeing some streamers streaming it, which will be really exciting.
Yeah, I'll absolutely be playing myself tomorrow.
Doing well in general, though, aren't they?
Absolutely.
You're playing, yeah. But the Americans generally are kind of shaking up the landscape at the moment, no? I think over the last 12 months, all I seem to be seeing is successful American players. Do you think it's Armel? Armel that's doing it?
I certainly hope that's a bit of Armel, but I don't know. It's just things, especially with the WRC that's been happening in Tokyo, a lot of people have been moving into the competitive sphere and really upping their game lately. So hopefully that continues, especially going to the new year.
Yeah, it is interesting. Like, I think, previously there's definitely been a lot of independence, right? People have been playing on their own, playing on Tenno, playing Mahjong Salon, playing Raichi City, wherever else. But you don't really get that boost to the overall skill level of the community until people start organizing.
Yeah,
it seems thankless, but it's really, yeah.
Everything is much more connected, and things like the WRC is a common goal. Armel brings people together, American Riichi Mahjong League. And also the tournament scene in the US has also become a bit more connected. Everybody knows where the large hubs of players are, where the large tournaments are being held. And that there can even be large tournaments because there are enough players now for that. So everything's becoming even more connected. And people are hungry for opportunities like even to watch the pro players, such as what we have here at the Yukan Fuji Cup.
It's, yeah. It has been amazing to me. What Europe took, maybe a decade to really kind of embed in like a really structured competitive scene. America's managed to do it in a year. So well done for maintaining that positive stereotype, guys. And obviously WRC wanted to get a piece of the action. If you're going to get so good, I definitely need to see some of that talent in the World Riichi community. So the World Riichi League is coming to the US. We have been running a few events in Europe, mostly in Germany, but we're branching out now. But we are going to be holding 3 simultaneous events on the first weekend of March. Those are in 3 major Mahjong hub cities, obviously, New York, Chicago, and San Francisco. The New York event filled up pretty quickly, to be honest, but there are still slots open in Chicago and San Francisco, and the description is in the link if you want to sign up. I wouldn't hesitate if you are interested because, as I said, those spots have been filling up fast. And Chicago must be fairly eastish. I don't know, America's huge.
Yes, Chicago it's on the eastern side of the central portion of the US, so it's a nice split. You've got New York all the way, on the right, San Francisco to the left, and then Chicago's sort of central. But that's where I'll be playing.
Oh, great.
And I'm really looking forward to also the winner of the North American Open, very strong player as well, is going to be playing the Chicago Open. So if you want the chance to meet either of us, we'll definitely be there at the Chicago portion of the World Riichi League.
And yeah, Brian Wen was the winner of the now, and he already has a seat to the Tokyo event from being victorious in that event. But these 3 events will feed into an online match that will potentially lead to a WRC 2025 seat if you come on top. So definitely worth looking at that. My dream is to hold an event in Texas, so San Antonio specifically. So if anyone wants to make that dream happen for me, I'll be really excited. Yeah, I think that's it from the script.
Very good. Well,
I've already gone over Jen's book, haven't I? I've already done that bit. There's a not that I'm reading from a script, guys, but I do have some prompts. I'm not going to lie. But today we are covering the Yukan Fuji Cup Women's League. It's made up of 64 teams, split into 16 groups of 4. That's a times table for you, isn't it? That's a lot of maths for a Friday night. But each group battles the 3 teams in their group over 10 sessions, and the top team from each of those groups and the top individual players advance to 2 different final tournaments, a group finals and an individual finals. At this point, we're going to be showing the players from Group 4 who are playing on the broadcast tables for the 2nd time this season. So they rotate the broadcast table. It's a large event, and they can't show all of the teams at once, and I think it would probably make it really difficult to follow. So they just highlight one table each session. So the teams that we're going to be following today are Ampai. They're like an application like an application on your phone, an app on your phone to track your scores, your Mahjong scores, and there's different ways you can do it. Curiously, Ampai actually designed the WRC 2025 website.
Cool.
They did a beautiful job. So I'll be cheering them on here. There's Hachioji Mahjong Keio. There's Mahjong StudyxStadium. And there is PSJ. Another Mahjong Salon. I presume that's salon in like the French sense of the word and not hair salon. I don't know, you can maybe get like a Mahjong towel carved into your hair with the shavers or something. And we have some exciting players. So the first dealer is Kozue Miyauchi. I really like this. She's a wonderful woman. She's from JPML. She's representing the Ampai. She wrote a book. This is probably before COVID now, but it's about tile efficiency. And it's one of those books that, you know, even if you don't understand much Japanese or you're a beginner at Japanese, I recommend this book. Each like section is very small, easy to read, but it's a really useful book if you're doing your tile efficiency. Also, I know it's a really, really uncomfortable time for Australia right now. Kozue was recently in Australia attending their big open for the WRC 2025.
Oh, really?
So yeah, so there might be some people watching who are cheering her on. You've met her. You'll agree she's lovely. In the south seat, we have Tomomi Okubo, who's representing Hachioji Keio. She is in JPML as well. In the west seat, we have Neneko Kitagawa, who is from Kyokai or Nihon Pro Mahjong, and she's representing PSJ. And Yoko Kado, who is from RMU, Real Mahjong Unit, for those curious. And she is representing Mahjong Study or Stadium. Mahjong Stadium, I guess?
Study and Stadium.
Anyway, it's just this Mahjong Study cross Stadium. Didn't really think the studying and stadiums went together, but
it's a combo.
Sure.
One day you're in study groups, the second day you're showing off to the world, as these players will be in just a moment. So looking forward to it.
yeah.
And as you mentioned,
So hopefully some exciting matches.
yeah, Miyauchi with the book on efficiency. I'm very curious to watch her hands specifically and see that efficiency in practice. And I think we'll be seeing a lot
I don't
of her
think she'll
today.
be that efficient, to be honest. I don't think that's going to be that efficient. It's one of those things that you learn and you should learn. It's like they're your core rules.
Mhm.
You need to know when to break those rules, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So I think lots of people read like Dina Chiba's Riichi Book 1, right? It really hammers home efficiency, and they do their efficiency trainers, blah, blah, blah. And then you just get to a point where you plateau and you can't move forward. And that's because you need to learn how to break the efficiency rules.
That's very true. I think that's actually been the case for a lot of the US players is, we start with that book, Riichi Book 1, because it is one of the very few English language resources, and quickly move on once players are comfortable with those concepts. I guess now we have Jen's book as a resource.
We do have Jen's book as a resource. I mean, it's been around for a while, but now she's added all the strategy bits to it. I do think sometimes we can't just say, Dina Chiba's book is the only English resource, so people use it. I think let's not diminish the fact it's actually just an amazing book. It's not.
Oh, absolutely. It does a great job of laying out the fundamentals.
Yeah. We've got no overlay today. Do we know why?
I do not know, but I suspect it's because the broadcast itself was slow in putting that in, but we have a win already. Yakuhai, only as far as I can tell. I actually cannot see the door.
Yeah, I know. That's why I was asking. I was like, where's my Dora? Where's my names? I was there riffing, hoping that the overlay would pop up.
But the very same, but it's okay. We can.
Okay. We're going to have some harrowed commentators if the overlay doesn't come back to us.
It's nice to see the players in the background. Always enjoy looking at that.
I'm gonna see if I can spy the door as the camera flips around. Oh,
It's
no,
a
great, it's a
Montile.
character. No way you're ever gonna be able to read that from
My
this
guess is
angle.
9-mon.
It's a 9. It's a 9-man, right? Yeah, 9-man. Right, okay. Oh no. So I'm probably going to use I'm gonna have to use the surname that I can see. That's Kado. This is Miyauchi or Kozue. You know her by her first name.
Okubo.
Okubo here. He's got a nice straw.
Kitagawa in the yellow PSJ shirt. But quickly
Yeah, they should put their
into
names
these two.
on their sleeves, right?
That would be fantastic for us as well. Ooh, looks like 7 pairs coming together for the dealer. Kitagawa pulls in a nice 5-mon as well. More pairs around the table, so this could be a bit of a Toitsuba developing pair hands abound. This is already Chitoi Ishanten, and 7 pairs with those hands that you can get to Ishanten very quickly, but kind of get stuck there.
Yeah, it's not a very these aren't very wide shapes. No, they don't absorb so much, but Miyauchi here is really pushing forward and she's just holding that isolated Dora. She's not going to want to throw it until she gets to Tenpai. So Miyauchi kept her dealership, right? No, she didn't.
I believe that was
That's why I
stolen
need
away.
the overlay. Was stolen away, sorry. That's why I need the overlay.
Door drawn, but surely the hand is too slow.
Kado maybe moving towards 7 pairs there, do you think?
It does seem to be that way, but Okubo's 7 pairs will come together first.
So 2 small hands from Okubo. Not terrible. It's not exciting though.
Yeah, do you think she was hoping for a better weight before slamming a Riichi, or just content to take the pair's hand?
I think she was content to take the pair's hand, no? This is why I don't like pair's hands. They're quite difficult to build lots of value in. Unless you're prepared to wait on a Dora. So it looks like the 1-man here is the Dora. So for those who are joining us, normally we do have overlays on these streams. Ah, the overlay's here. Okay, guys, we're saved.
I believe the original broadcast
the
was missing it, so we didn't have it for quite a while, but
someone else is having a technical difficulty. It's not just YouTube streamers. But yeah, so I can nicely segue into my next explanation that the Dora in the top left there is the actual Dora, not the Dora indicator. That can catch people out a lot. And the top stick there is the Riichi sticks on the table, and the stick below is the continuations. So Okubo held her dealership, which is probably why, she probably wasn't hanging out too hard for that 7 pairs to change the weight.
And quickly opening up again to retain the dealership even further. Also notable is the points that you can see above the player's score total, and that's the cumulative score that the players have earned, or rather the teams have earned up to this point. The start number in white is the amount they had coming into this game, and then the total in yellow is how many points they would have should the game end at this very moment. And so you can see Team Ampai has a huge lead in this division with plus 356.2, and would dip down a little bit because they're currently in 4th place in this game, if should it end now, but we have many rounds to go before that happens.
I think there's 2 types of players in this world. I'm going to make a broad sweeping statement now. There's the players who are quite happy to make those fast, small hands, but just do it over and over and over. And there's players like myself who just like making one massive hand-in-man hand and then chilling for the rest of the game. What type of player are you, Nathanael?
I like to think of myself as a hybrid, but realistically speaking, I do tend to when it comes down to crunch time, move in the direction of the faster hands.
Interesting. I tend to go the opposite in stress points. I'll forget that I can go hard and fast and just be like, gotta make the biggest hand possible. I'm scared. And which is Miyauchi looks like she's doing that right now with her 3 concealed Dora.
That's fantastic. And
Yeah.
multiple pairs. So lots of pin acceptance into Tenpai. Also gains the 6 spawn into Tenpai as well, having added a second pair to that hand. Yeah, I think of it almost from a defensive perspective as well. Like, I don't want to feel the pain of somebody else winning the hand, so I'm going to get to my hand first, even if it's less expensive.
I mean, sometimes I think you have to do that, right? When you've just been beaten over and over and over by a sumo, you need that short, fast hand just to kind of change the energy on the table. So Okubo is Tenpai here. The 5-8 pin, was that right?
It did look like that. Had a very nice Ishanten, perfect Ishanten beforehand, and this is also Tenpai for Kado, but not taking the Kanchan Riichi.
Oh. I want to see this triple Dora coming through, but Okubo obviously, it's not a great weight 5-8 pin, but it's a 2-sided weight.
Yeah, it's about, oh, there it is. That's the upgrade we're looking for. Not even the weight upgrade, but rather the value upgrade, the Sanchoku. Waiting for the middleweight 7 Mon. And
we are Tenpai here as well.
That's a Dora 3 chase.
Also waiting on the 7 man. Yeah.
So that's a good opportunity to bring up the fact that if the Dylan towel were to be dropped by another player, that would not be a double rung. We have head bump in this league.
Yeah.
So the first player in turn order, we get it. Yes, certainly not a popular rule in the US, but the 5 pin will come out instead, and Okubo will steal away the 2 Riichi sticks as well as retain the dealership with a cheap 1,500 point hand plus Homba. And when that happens, you know, the 2 Riichis, you're feeling rewarded for aiming for the fast hand.
But then they'll not see each other as waiting for the same tile as well. So you don't. They're very polite. They won't throw their hand down. Go, what were you waiting for? Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of head bump. I don't know. I always wonder if there's like a cultural aspect of it. You know, Americans are always interested in fairness, and people are always too cynical, maybe.
Yeah, I personally am somewhat neutral to it, but because I haven't really had that many negative experiences with it. Actually, the first time I got head bumped off of a hand, despite all the qualifying WRC rule set tournaments that I played, it was in the Roddle, the online team league actually, and I got head bumped off of a dealer 7700 hand that I really needed to win, and I can see why people have a negative bias towards it to some degree. Once you lose a big hand, I know one club in my local area, there was a new player who had gotten pretty decent, and they got head bumped off of a Yakuman, and that was the last time that club ever used head bump. They decided, nope, that's too much. We're not using head bump anymore.
Feel the pain, but I will say it's pretty common in Japan to use head bump. I mean, the answer surely is, well, you should have been able to have an idea where they were waiting and wait somewhere else if you really wanted to win.
Yeah, it's quite fun to head bump somebody else. It's less fun to be head bumped yourself.
Yeah. The positioning there, it's the positioning, right?
Gotta be sitting in the right seat.
Exactly. It was your fault. You just got to blame yourself. That's the problem. Don't externalize it. Where are we with this hand?
Well, so Dora, a couple players have really nice hands.
Nicely, right?
Kado already Ishanten, as we just saw. Double Dora now from Miyauchi. And dealer has another callable hand. Well, so she's able to get the Hatsu. You know, at some point, if a player keeps opening up for these Yakuhai, do you just stop dropping them early and saying, all right, I see what you're doing. Try to build it close now.
Yeah. Kado is trying to stop Okubo's run with a reach.
To draw very nicely the middle 6-so. So she gets the tateniu along with the Riichi and the two-sided weight. 5 mon, 8 mon. Oh, 6 mon's not quite there.
Mm. Yeah, it's a nice weight, that one.
Well, that's
Oh, yeah,
Tempai as
Tempai here now
dealer.
as well.
It feels like this is typically a slam, and it will be 3-pin Riichi.
You have to, don't you? There's not really much you can do. Kitagawa moves on that, though.
Tempai for her. Sanchoku
The
and the
open
Tuso
Sanchoku.
comes out immediately.
This is
Kitagawa.
a very stabby Hanchan.
Yeah, no one letting those big hands come to fruition. The Riichi hands not being one here. We've had.
But this is the kind of vibe where I really like a big hand. I'm like, right, I'm just gonna make a big mangan.
Yeah,
And
that's
then
true.
what are you guys gonna do? I've seen how you play now.
Everyone exchanges 1,000 points back and forth, and you win 12,000 points. And who's leading now,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, exactly. You can all keep continuing passing 1,000 points to each other whilst I sit here. But I mean, that was quite a big change for Kitagawa. She's right up there now, very close second. Okubo. Be interesting to see if Okubo becomes defensive now, right?
That's true. She's very
Or a little
aggressive
bit
in
more
the early
defensive.
stages, but as the time progresses, and
Mm.
her dealerships
Well,
pass.
she's lost her first dealership, exactly, right? Oh, Miyauchi's hand looks interesting. You've got to think about a half flush in that situation, right?
Surely. Also, more
But
uncles. She's having
Kitagawa is also moving nicely. Yeah.
a lot of vertical or pair hands open for Miyauchi already. Got 2 honor pairs,
She's
and you
gonna
certainly think about Honitsu.
And she's throwing that tile, which is just 2 away from the door. So she's, oh, it's another closed triple there.
Pin tile is certainly a welcome sight for Miyauchi. This hand for Okubo is probably going to be a little bit slow. The penchant's a little awkward, and there's a Hatsupon.
She's going. She could go for small dragons on this. We know she can't get the big dragons because there's 2 red here in Kitagawa's hand. She's got something nice here.
Well, certainly if she was, I guess this happened the same day as the other game yesterday, but any of those rumors got out, she'll be thinking about Daisangan for sure.
But she is Tenpai. She is Tenpai, but she can still get some more value out of the hand. Well, they're all calling duplicates of... Oh, there we go. Too late.
Really outspeeding, certainly matching the speed of the half flush player, and you can't afford to let that hand get away from you, so you just need to shut it down. And Kitagawa certainly won't be too upset to win 12,000 points.
I was about to say a dealer mangan, yeah.
That will shoot her up. We were talking about all these quick hands.
Yeah.
But the when the mangan comes in, when the first large hand comes in, that's gonna set the tone.
So Kado really has fallen behind here. And her team probably can't afford to lose that many points.
No, it's getting to crunch time now. You really have to go for it all. I mean, in that situation, perhaps she can't even afford to defend even then too carefully. If she's close, if she's got a hand that's worth fighting for, then you're almost forced to just go for it at this point.
It's a tough spot then, because you really are just, a victim of whatever fate throws at you, right? Which is really, it's the same with the beginning of a hand. At the beginning of a tournament, almost always sorts of sets the tone.
Right,
You'll feel the mistakes in the initial hand chan. You'll feel those mistakes, 10 hand chan later.
It's the double east and Dora 1, so that's great. Starting set of tiles to look at. Kado with a nice 7, so draw will improve her shapes as well. Yeah, she's struggling a little bit with her Ampai, and another vertical hand. Okubo now with the triplet up 1, so another pair elsewhere. Will we see more triplets drawn? They seem to be coming in fast and furious in this game, at least.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely changed the direct. Oh, there's
Wow.
another East draw. Kitagawa.
And that's Yushanten already, with a save tile in hand as well, the Haku being held, so Kitagawa might have a super early Riichi without any indication.
Oh. I'd call that one to get it into Tenpai as dealer. Would you do the same or?
Certainly, double E Store 1, 5,800 points plus, and there's a homeball course as well.
Mm.
You know, in terms of
It's a bit of a
opening,
no-brainer, really.
it feels like a lot of times the conversation point is on 3 and 30, 3,900 as like one of the minimum points to open your hand. Other people prefer to have, you know, a little bit more value, but as dealer, 5,800, certainly that seems like a good minimum. It feels like
Yeah,
a healthy amount of points.
Yeah, I'm never that keen on it on these point thresholds for opening. I rather consider what I'm calling to open. Am I getting rid of an ugly shape in my hand? One that I know is going to be difficult, you know, like I'm waiting in the middle. I've got a
Certainly.
4 and a 6 and I get a 5. I'm like, okay, well, if the rest of the shapes are good, then I might as well lock that one in. Oh, she threw away a 3-pin.
Played a little bit on the safe
Something must have
side, but
scared her.
missed Tempai as a result.
Hmm.
And now has a Riichi to
She doesn't
contend
need
with.
to. She does need to lose points in this situation, though, so it's probably the smart thing to do. Yep,
No.
she's throwing her safe tile because she can avoid the ipats.
GP Fudora for Kado here. Potential for Mangan. Ooh, and a second door drawn. This is kind of tricky now.
Ah.
I mean,
She knows she can throw the 8-pin.
yeah, we'll start with that, and maybe we could justify the 9-pin later. It is one chance from our vantage point, or from hers rather.
Yeah, I was about to say. So one chance is where this so if you're sort of nearest to Mahjong, if you have 4 of the 8 pins, the 9-pin is likely safe because they can't have like a 7-8 wait. 7-8 with waiting on the 6-9. But we can see. Oh, we can see all 4
We can
8
see all 4.
pins
Yeah, I
here.
missed the one in Okubo's discards as well.
Yeah. So if you had, so that would mean the 9 really safe unless they were waiting on a triplet of 9 or a solitary 9 for their pair. Which is less likely. But if you can see 3 of the 8s, then we call that one chance. There's one chance that it might be dangerous to you. I never really liked because one chance sounds like it should be positive, right? Whereas this one chance is negative. For you.
I guess it depends on your perspective for sure. For their player. It looks quite good.
Yeah, if you are looking to improve your defense, I definitely recommend looking at Kabe or these walls that you can see in the discards over Suji. Oh, and we won. Suji is a bit of a dark art. Everyone likes to learn it, but I do not recommend it.
It's going to be a Mangan hit the Ura, Riichi Tsumo Pinfu Dora Ura, and that will be bringing Kado back up to life right next to Miyauchi and the current game totals with her dealership upcoming.
Yeah, she's got a dealership, so this is probably a much more positive situation for her. I definitely also noticed there's been a big change in women's mahjong fashion. It used to be that they'd all be dressed in like really nice dresses and frills, quite, you know, not casual clothing, right? Like they were going to a nice restaurant or something. Whereas now, with the advent of M League, you're noticing a lot more of these t-shirts, sort of jerseys, lots more kind of sports. I don't want to say casual, but it is more casual, right, than a nice frilly dress, a nice tea dress or something.
It's something more like team spirit than it is necessarily individual fashion.
It's not negative. It's just an observation because I always used to feel very underdressed when I went to mahjong tournaments.
Kado from the Saitama Prefecture has won the 3rd RMU Grand Prix. became a pro just before the pandemic, and I know that was, a period of time where a lot of people were getting into Mahjong, especially internationally, I feel.
It's interesting. I always kind of think that it was damaging in Europe because we were so used to playing offline.
You know
And the
what?
pandemic hit, it made it worse. But for the Americans, I think it was a real positive, no?
I agree. In America, there's just so much, it's so big, right? There's so much distance between
Mm.
the players that had existed, so they they were able to connect by playing online instead. And they found that to be a really positive thing. And then once restrictions were lifted, we all started to meet. So Mahjong population really boomed. This is a nice tateniu hand
Yeah,
forming for Kado.
I think it was a big relief when the restrictions lifted, right? And everyone's like, oh, now we can actually see each other.
Put everything we've learned online into practice in the actual games.
Do you find there's a lot of friction over the appropriate table etiquette? That always seems to be a constant theme in Europe, at least.
I don't really feel that way currently.
Mm.
I'm not as there's a Riichi from the dealer, Riichi Tanya. Yeah, I don't play as much as some of the larger, more populous regions of the US, but I think everyone gets along rather pretty well in terms of the table etiquette. However, it's a very still relatively young scene, so that what's considered to be good etiquette might not match, what you might see in a professional scene in Japan either.
Yeah. Okubo here has drawn another door, and that's really kind of.
Oh well, the door
Kado
clears.
yeah, Kado's moving forward, whatever. So yeah, she might choose this point because I really don't think she's going to be able to incorporate that door, right? She's got to decide whether she's going to go forward. So she's going to get rid of that now. Even though the 9 pin doesn't help her, this is really her only opportunity to get rid of that door.
So much of the weight is being eaten up by this hand that is now Tempai.
Oh no, she drew the 3 bamboo. She could have used the door. Oh no, sucks.
It's unfortunate, but
I
it was
still
safe
think
at
it's
the
the best
time.
play.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the right play. It was the right play, just sucks.
Yeah.
So yeah, Miyauchi here going for the toy potentially be close triplets if she draws her winner.
Certainly worth taking this fight. I mean, it's a risk against the dealer, but she's got the value to back it up, and she's got the ability to never deal in, unbeknownst to her. 4-mon draw will be at small. 7-mon draw. She can con that and lock those away. It's always so tense for me as a player when I've done everything that I can. It feels like you should be able to relax at that point. You declared the Riichi. All it comes down to is just declaring the win if you find it.
Yeah.
But somehow I feel pressure.
It's interesting. Maybe I feel too relaxed.
I think it's a little bit different online. Like when I play
now.
online, my goal is just to do the best I can until I hit that tempai, and then I can just wait and see what happens. But in person,
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I'm definitely a lot more reach happy when I'm playing online because, as you said, I'll hit the reach and then grab myself a drink, which you definitely should not do. Oh,
it's the one. So we wish we had
Oh,
that
it
too
sucks
back
for her.
someday. It's okay. We're just folding now. Near the end of the hand anyway.
Oh. Even the professionals are clumsy. You can show it to the camera like I didn't cheat. But sometimes those tiles get sticky, right?
They do. And it will be 2 players Tempai. Miyauchi and our dealer Kado both maintaining their position. We'll pick up 1,500 points. No change in score between the two, other than the Riichi stick that Kado is going to leave on the table. That'll be collected in the next hand along with a honba. Well, rather 300 points from the honba. One more chance for Kado to win something big, which is, of course, always the goal on your dealership. Do you tend to think about dealerships as an opportunity to gain a lot of points in one hand, or do you change your perspective because you're a dealer to just maybe take more opportunities to open up for faster hands and repeat?
Yeah, I mean, you should definitely go faster if you're the dealer, I think. No. Obviously I want to win infinite points. It's just the dealership is so precious that if you slow down for a little bit and you show any inch, someone's going to get in there and swipe that dealership off you.
Yeah, I think the hardest hands sometimes are the ones that have a clear path for value, but also are just easily openable for a repeat. And you have to decide, which one you value more in the moment.
I mean, it's partly going to depend on your score conditions, right?
Yeah, it's going to depend on your score conditions, what you're reading from the other players. Certainly, a lot of factors that you'll consider when making that decision. But sometimes it can feel very close.
I'm a big fan of reaching when I'm reaching when I'm a dealer and just putting the pressure on. Yeah, it's difficult though. It is really, really difficult.
I'm interested when we come back around to Miyauchi's hand, just to see if there's a path to going for a flush. Certainly we have a door shape, so we really don't want to drop that. But I'm trying to think, like, what draws would convince us to move off of that shape? Maybe it's drawing...
You've got the 7-8 bamboo there. I would love to wait there, but she's calling. She could go either way, couldn't she?
Yeah, if she pairs up the Hatsune...
I'd love to be waiting at the 9 bamboo.
That might be an opportunity. We'll see.
Outside waiting shapes, I think, are difficult to drop.
Certainly,
There's
now
so
that
much
we're
more
down
likely
by...
to come out now. It's not a huge hand, but, with these score conditions, it's not bad.
Yeah, she'll get the bonus foo for having a triplet of North in her hand as well as the Dragon Call, so...
And I think maybe she's feeling the way we were discussing earlier, that sometimes you just want to make something happen.
Certainly here, with a slim lead over the dealer, you don't want to let the dealer win another hand and get ahead of you, so hopefully, from her perspective, she could just shut this down and extend that lead going back into her dealership in the South rounds. And of course, as you say, this end weight is really good. Now, here's an interesting question. I think the North Wind... Oh, it's come out already.
With temper.
She take an Okubo with the Riichi Pihu Dora 1.
Yeah, 2-5 pin weight and another each.
Well, it's the same weight, the 6-9, so as Miyauchi.
And yeah, Miyauchi's going to have to decide how committed she is. That tile's really close to the door.
Oh,
I wouldn't want to throw it.
And if we didn't have a clear folding path with North, 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 it would be an easy decision. Just push because we have nothing else to do. But we'll fold out, and it doesn't matter. Okubo gets the Ippatsumo.
Doesn't hit the Ura. So the Ura door, if you're new to Mahjong, is you flip over that door indicator to give yourself a fresh door, and you only get to do that if you win whilst in reach.
And that's the power of staying closed and declaring a Riichi. There's so many bonus opportunities for value, like the Ippatsu, the unbroken, I think they call it. You win your first go around without anyone calling to break your chance. And
don't get me into a rant about how one shot is a terrible translation. It's one of the quirks of Mahjong, of Riichi, Japanese Mahjong, is you play a lot of other types of Mahjong and you're more encouraged to open up than you would be in Japanese Mahjong, because you get all these extra rewards, such as the Urador, the potential to reach. Like, you can just start layering up the hand on a fairly bland hand.
And that's one of the things that I really
why
like.
Pin through is curious.
about Riichi, it's oh wow, another pin tile as Kado is moving towards a full flush. But yeah, Riichi Mahjong has is such a good balance between the various elements of the game. You know, not just like the skill and luck elements, but rather open versus closed and expensive versus slow expensive hands versus cheap fast hands, and there's always a push and pull that's taking place, offense and defense, right? There's always something that you can play for no matter what position you're in, and it makes the game incredibly exciting.
Yeah, I mean, even if you've decided to fold, it's not like poker. If you're playing poker, you fold your cards and you throw them into center and you're out. If you're folding a mahjong, you cannot go to sleep. You're always in the game, always. And as you said, so you're always making these decisions, push, pull. Can I fold with this? Even you're still pushing, pulling, even if you're folding, right? Are you gonna try and keep your hand a little bit alive? Or are you just gonna completely fold? Do you have the potential to completely fold? There's just so much going on constantly. Yeah. I get why I'm so exhausted coming out of tournaments now.
We're staying here
But
because
our
we just
cameraman
know that
has
we're
gone to sleep.
getting good draws. 6-0 draw.
Yeah, like just
I'm
stick on Miyauchi.
I imagine the commentary that's happening in the Japanese broadcast is really focusing on Miyauchi, and that's why they're frozen on their hand.
I think that I think they've just like unplugged their like switcher at some point. Someone's desperately trying to shove it back in the USB port, upside down as always with USB.
Naturally, the first time and the second time are always upside down. Too many pairs there, so Kitagawa will just cut one of them away, and this Honitsu slash Chinitsu, the flush type hand, is kind of frozen right now. Trading off one on
Miyauchi's
top
not
for
gonna
another.
want to lose this one, is she? Like she's not gonna want to fold it.
Oh, it's gonna have
She needs
to
it too bad. Oh.
a slightly bad weight here for Kitagawa. Just the Shaba weight, the what do they call that? Double pair weight?
Yeah, the two pair weight.
Okay.
But I think that Miyauchi is fairly likely to drop the 4 bamboo if she gets into Tenpai.
Oh, you're so right.
Yeah.
Right on cue, and it's gonna deal it. It's not that expensive, just Hakudora 1, White Dragon, and
I am the
one.
Cassandra of Mahjong Doom for other people's hands, just to warn you.
Mahjong Doom, I see how it is. So like there's some commentators that you want to actively commentate your game because they're so optimistic and whatever they say comes true, and it's a good thing.
I'm the opposite. I just watch you. I'll watch you like slowly shuffle off the cliff face.
Well, I guess I just need you to watch my games, but commentate on the other players at the table.
I mean,
Not me.
I want to stress now, Miyauchi did not make the wrong play. She made exactly the right play. She's in dealer. She's behind. She had to take the Tenpai.
Mm-hmm.
As you can see, it's really hurt her. And this is the struggle of Mahjong, right? Even if you're doing all the right things, it doesn't mean you're gonna win.
Yeah, that can be one of the more challenging aspects of learning Mahjong is you lose points and it mentally it feels like you've done something wrong, but that's not necessarily the case. And I had to like train myself when I was learning that that deal-in I just made was a good deal-in and just give myself positive reinforcement, because otherwise I would have tried to correct that in some way, even though it was the right move to make, and that would have moved me in the wrong direction had I not been telling myself, yeah, that was the correct thing to do in that spot. And certainly in review, if you have the chance to review your games, you can help confirm that to yourself, which is good reason to look at your games after you've played them if you have the chance.
Yeah, I try and give like a week's gap between reviewing my games though, because if I have that frustration fresh in my head, it's not a mentally healthy place to go and look at my game again. I curse the Mahjong gods a lot.
Yeah, I do think that going back to your game, not immediately after you played it, can be really useful, because if, a week later, 2 weeks later, you come back to the game, you look at it and you say, what in the world am I doing? Why did I discard this? Why did I discard that? And maybe, you're doing something that is not consistent with your line of thinking, right? Your expected patterns of play. But if you're coming back to your game, looking and saying, "Yep, I agree with this. I agree with that. Yep, this was all good."
Yeah.
That's really where I want to be in my own play style. It's just consistent. I certainly want
I
to
will
notice when I'm
say
making
that
mistakes, but I do want to be consistent.
if you're primarily an online player as well and you're really struggling to make the right calls, you should definitely only have Mahjong as your only window open. Don't have Discord in the side or your other chat things, because even if you don't think they're taking up much of your brain energy, you're playing Mahjong, you really need all of the brain energy. You don't have any spare bandwidth for your Discord mates. That's my hot tip, because that's something I always do. I've always got my phone next to me, right on the computer desk.
Yeah, I'm a big
And
fan of
if I
reading what my opponents are doing.
put your phone away.
Exactly.
Yeah, put your phone away. Like the thing I used to do as well is I used to every discard that went down on the table, I used to say it out loud to make sure I was focusing on the table. I don't have these problems when I'm playing offline. It's much easier for me to focus offline. But online, it's always like a notification or there's, the door's going or something is distracting you from the Mahjong. So I used to call out each and every tile that got discarded to make sure that I was concentrating.
It's a fantastic draw. It will be Tempai. Shop 1-3, so 2 Mon. Again with the double pair weight, but she also had the opportunity to take the middleweight 3 Mon as well.
Ampai. Each.
Miyauchi. And will we see the patience rewarded with a better weight? Will we see a chase? No. Okubo says my lead is good enough.
I'd want a bigger lead.
That's true. Like it's not that far ahead of Kitagawa in second.
Dealer, sorry. Yeah, I would not want to fold to Miyauchi. If I was Okubo, I'd be guessing she's really not got a big hand. She doesn't have a big hand, I can see that. Obviously, Okubo can't, but you can imagine in Miyauchi's situation, she's just trying to scrabble what she can.
Yeah,
So
also,
I probably would have kept going.
the Riichi declaration tile was the Dora itself, and you find it hard to imagine that the hand has any more Dora in it. If you're cutting, like you wouldn't cut away from a triplet, would you? Most of the times not, I don't think.
No. Yeah, I'd certainly be suspicious there wasn't much value in that hand. And as in my dealer position, I'd be wanting just to pull forward so that I can lock in a first place. And Kitagawa obviously is not particularly bothered by Miyauchi's Riichi declaration.
Yeah, Kitagawa sees this as an opportunity. That's just an extra 1,000 points sitting on the table waiting for her to take. And can she claim it?
And that would be a big deal. She'd have pushed Okubo, her nearest rival in top place, off her Tempai. Got some points. They'd probably be neck and neck at that point as Kitagawa goes into her dealership. So yeah, I think Okubo should have pushed.
Now, if Okubo has a sense that the weight is in the lower Sozu, well, she'd be correct. It is 1-4 so, but the 3 so would have passed. In this instance, it's hard, you don't really want to use hindsight to make your decisions, of course, but...
Right. But I think if you've guessed correctly that it's not a particularly expensive hand, even if she throws 1,000 points, it doesn't actually matter.
Yeah, I
losing her position is too big a risk.
Oh, and there it is, the move. Kitagawa broke Tempai to hold his 9 so, but we'll call back into Tempai. Players definitely concerned about the Sozu here. Bamboo tiles seem a little bit scary with those discards, perhaps. At least certain Suji do, and the door is safe.
Yeah, safe.
So this is actually a relatively large swing. Kitagawa will pick up 1,500, and Okubo will lose 1,500, so that's a 3,000 point swing.
Right.
And they are neck and neck, as you said.
Yeah.
The only difference between them is that Riichi stick that's sitting in the middle of the table.
Yeah. I think Okubo should have pushed. I'm really sorry, Okubo, if now you don't get your first position.
I think
I'm
one
not
of
going
the
to say it was a mistake, but I think it was definitely a decision that's going to impact as we, for
for
this hand
sure.
on the Horas.
Yeah, the fact that it was Ippatsu turn might have been a little bit too scary for her to try. Because that is one way you get extra value is to deal in on Ippatsu, like say Riichi Patsu Pinfu Ura,
I
and you've just lost 8,000
suppose.
points. I wonder if she would have
Suppose, but
tried
she was
if it
healer.
wasn't Ippatsu.
And also, we're what? We've not got that much longer left in the Yukan Fuji Cup.
Mm.
They're in second place. Only the top team goes forward.
That's true.
I
And
think she should have fought that one.
yeah, that's actually a really interesting perspective as well, because that was Miyauchi from the team that's in the lead in a defensive
Yeah.
position, rather defenseless position as a Riichi player.
Yeah.
So you challenge that. If you challenge that, rather,
Oh,
you
I
could
would.
score a direct hit and drop Miyauchi into last place in this game, which would be not only a huge swing because of the points you're taking away immediately, but also the potential Uma swing in the end as well could be massive as well. So I think that's actually maybe all the justification that you need to take that fight.
Oh, door came out. Sorry, I was like, oh, afraid the door. Yeah, I think a little bit more courage was needed there.
I will see how much that comes to
It's really
play.
easy to backseat mahjong drive.
It
So.
really is. That's why I appreciate the ability to be sitting here in the commentary booth and not at the table, because I guarantee you that if I was the one making that decision, I'd be very, very personally inclined to fold. That is just my defensive internal mindset. But when I think about it, back from the bird's eye view, just with all the conditions at stake here, it really does make a lot of sense to push. And if you deal in, that's a good deal in.
Yeah,
I'll just tell
yeah,
myself that.
exactly. I can get super aggressive because I often pick the player that I need to rival on in a hand, and yeah, I would have wanted to fight for that bone. Kado's doing quite nicely there,
But Miyauchi
and
first to
Miyauchi
Tenpai.
is. Yeah, it's not a particularly expensive hand though, is it now?
Well, if she finds the small for Sadonko, then that would give a lot of value as well. But you have to draw it yourself. That's always a challenge.
Mhm.
Oh, there's the West Anipatsu turn. Not gonna come out just yet, but that is also Yakuhai for Miyauchi. The West is her seat.
I picked them out. Hmm. I mean, that's the thing though. Okubo and Kitagawa, they have to worry about dropping points to Miyauchi.
Mm.
Kado maybe not so much. Kado really just has to keep going forward, and there it is. Exactly. Thank you, Kado, for proving my point.
Once again,
Sorry,
Gemma's
I'm the
predictions come
person
true.
doing that. Yeah. Um, but that's kind of what you've got to be looking at if you are watching other games. Maybe you're watching the JPML channel on YouTube, and you're watching games and they don't have the English commentary. If you're watching them just to kind of get more vibes, definitely look to see, well, who are the pairs fighting each other for this hand? Because you often get the situation where there's two lower and there's two higher, right?
Hmm.
Maybe second and third are fighting it out. Last has gone so far down that it's a little bit of a sorry mess at that point, and first is so far high that it's really a battle for second. But yes, you kind of mark in your head like, okay, well, so who's battling who, and then how does that affect their responses to their opponent, the chosen opponent, reaching or calling, etc., etc.
And certainly when it
Um,
comes down to a position like this in all last, uh,
mm,
the individual battles become even more pronounced. Like right now, Kado has a very simple goal: win hands, but everyone else has a very specific goal that they're aiming for. And between Okubo and Kitagawa, there's also some extra considerations at stake. Like, say it's getting close to the end of the hand. It's very important that you be Tenpai so that you can preserve. If you're in Okubo's situation, you can preserve the lead. Or if you're in Kitagawa's situation, if you're Tenpai and Okubo is not, and the game ends, you will overtake due to the Tenpai and no ten payments.
yeah, this is an exciting or less. I mean, Kitagawa just needs 1,300 points. So I think if they draw, I got to look at the rules. Does Okubo take the second place if they're in a draw situation?
Oh, in a
On the
tie.
rules,
I'm
actually.
not actually
I don't
100%
think we
sure.
got the I hear. Yeah, I'm sorry. We will have to double check that with Jen later. Might be that they split the placing bonus in a tie.
Yeah, I know some places do just win priority, some places split the bonuses.
So WRC would split the bonus. If you split the bonus, it's still Okubo's win overall. If you look at the team score,
Certainly.
I think that's going to push Kitagawa to be a bit more aggressive, even though the bonus might be split. So Miyauchi here, I'm guessing, is just gonna try and get a. Yeah, but Kado, you have to call that one, mate. I'm a terrible backseat mahjong player. um, yeah, Miyauchi probably is just trying to keep third now, looking at her draw. She doesn't really have a draw that can propel her into second place, I don't think.
No, she really needs Hanuman
Of
Sumo
course,
for like
Tempai.
first, or yeah, Hanuman Sumo just is the condition here. It's too hard. And of course, Kado going very
Yes,
quickly here, as expected.
Okubo is Tempai, but she is not going to call reach. She's hoping that by staying silent on this, someone's going to throw that 7-man for her. Do you like that, Dama? I like the Dama. I think it's more like to come out for her. I think if she made people aware that she had this fast Tempai, it's not going to come. Kado just has to drive ahead, right? So she could very well throw the 7-man.
And
And we've
there's
got
a
another Tempai.
little upgrade there for pin 7 pin now.
Yeah.
Kitagawa making the Tanya shift. We're into the middle of the hand now, so if you're going to make your move, now's the time to do it.
I mean, Kitagawa is probably, she's going to have an eye on Okubo, and she's probably noticed now that Okubo is just drawing and discarding, drawing and discarding. Okubo moves away from that Tempai. He's a little concerned.
Ooh. We're 50-10 with a 9, so normally that 7 so would be a great draw, but yeah, she'll just throw it back. Really just looking for the Tanya with the door 2. And
Yeah, I don't think Okubo is going to get back into Tempai easily.
okay, the 8 pin comes out. That removes some of the danger that the 7 pin will filter out of the hand there. So Kado will have to wait a little bit longer for the win. Okubo.
Oh, she calls back into Tempai. Interesting. Waiting on the 7-man.
I believe we saw it went in this hand.
Kitagawa's not going to throw it. Kitagawa. I mean, even if you draw the 9-man, you're not going to throw the
Certainly not.
I mean, sorry, you're not going to throw the 5-man into this nonsense. That's not coming out. 7 pin.
Yeah, 7 pin will come out, and that will be the dealer win. 1500. We go again. That's just one step for Kado. She needs a lot more where that comes from rather, but it's gonna be.
Oh, she gets another draw now.
Yeah.
She gets another draw.
Every draw is an opportunity. That hand wasn't going to be the monster, value that she was looking for, and so maybe this hand will.
Every time I see these seats, I'm like, they look super comfortable apart from that little cushion, like a really awkward placing on the shoulders. No, I'm not sure if it's because the girls are a little bit smaller.
I guess it really depends on the height of each individual.
Yeah. I'd want it to be like in that neck crook you have. I need a new chair. Maybe that's why I'm obsessively looking at the chairs.
I love this high pie for the dealer, though. Those tiles, central, Dora included among them, and relatively easy to improve. So Kado with a really great opportunity to score some big points here.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, Kitagawa and Okubo are in the same position as they were basically last hand. So be interested to see if there's any frustration that builds up from that. You know, I suspect one of them was thinking it was going to be over by now.
And this is one of those, we were discussing this before, you know, as the dealer, you certainly have the incentive to go quickly. And wow, she's Tempai already. She drew the middle 4-mon and now sitting on the middle 6. So for the weight, Tanya Dora 1, she's looking for something better, a better weight, maybe another Dora draw. I was going to ask, you know, there's this sentiment that you should speed up your hand in order to take advantage of being the dealer to get a repeat. But at the same time, like, it's an opportunity for her to win a Mongon as dealer with a Riichi. And that would go a long way to her escaping last place. Is this one of those spots where you would pass on, say, a 4-mon chi that would give you Tempai for 2,900 in order to greet a little more value?
Yeah, I mean, 12,000 would, you know, especially if it came from Miyauchi, would propel you into third place.
With the dealership
Yeah, I
remaining
think you've got to.
too.
Yeah, I think you've got to build the value in this situation.
Now, what about the fact that we haven't seen the Riichi here? There are a number of upgrade paths for this hand, but at the same time, you could argue that it's worthwhile just to take the Riichi to put the pressure on the rest of the table.
Yeah, but I don't think anyone's looking at her. I think Okubo's looking at Kitagawa and Kitagawa's looking at Okubo, and Miyauchi's looking at Okubo and Kitagawa. I don't think they're really paying attention to Kado.
This is an interesting draw. If you
So
want to go back, oh, but we've dropped the 1 and 4-mon already, so it's a little tricky to do that.
I just don't think Kado's, if she reached, it would have the impact that a more dangerous looking dealer would have.
Yeah, the one thing with the Riichi, if Okubo deals in, she would drop out of first. If Kitagawa deals in, she's likely going to have a hard time getting a chance at first again. So maybe they would think twice about pushing their hands. From that perspective, it might give you more time to Tsumo, but the weight's kind of bad.
Yeah. I just get the vibe that they're not really paying attention to Kado, and Kado might have that vibe too.
Oh, that's a frustrating 7-mon draw. She had, you know, a thought to go into the Huri 10-3 sided chance and declined. I mean, you drop back a Shanten doing that. Would have drawn the perfect tile for it, though, and instead will just slam the Riichi as a result.
And so a later reach from the dealer is more likely to put the pressure on as well here, because they might think that she's had time to build some value.
And I wonder to what degree the fact that it was a Tsumogiri Riichi, she just discarded the tile she drew without incorporating, without removing one from her hand. So I wonder if they'll read anything off of that.
I think they'd react more to a later reach, and she's not going to keep that format. But I mean, you know, poor Kado here is waiting on the tile adjacent to the Dora.
I didn't even notice that this
Doesn't feel good.
was a Tempai hand. Oh, now the 7 so feels terrible. And she's not going to
Nasty.
continue pushing.
Hand, yeah.
Ooh, that was going to be first place confirmation for Okubo there. She found the 5-8-mon before drawing that terrible 7 so. But she'll play around it, okay? Start with the 2-mon, 2-mon. If she draws 4-7 so again, she'll be back into Tempai.
Yeah, that's not going to feel good for Okubo, right? But Kitagawa's folding out, so she doesn't have to worry too hard. This could end in a draw. Yeah, it's going to end in a draw.
It does seem likely. And Kitagawa had opened up, but is totally backing away here, so just accepting second place. I mean, for the time being, because of course if Kado...
I was about to say...
Kado will repeat, but...
They know it's going to go to a draw as well. So they're like, okay, well, we retreat from this skirmish. Fight again.
Maybe a small opportunity for Okubo to extend the lead a little bit by being Tempai here. She's still Ishanten, I believe. And...
I'm not sure about the pile out there. Not sure what friend drew here. Maybe another 3-man. The 8-man. Yeah, it's a safe one now.
Tremon
And
could
that
be
3-man.
called, but passes.
No, and that's a safe tile now. Okubo, right?
It's actually a little curious because if you call that and drop the 9 so, she is back to Tempai, of course, but doesn't trust the 1 chance.
The 9 bamboo is Suji on the door. You're not going to throw that.
Yeah. She can see 3 of the
Crazy
7s,
dog.
but, you know, there's always the risk that they have the last one. At this point, it might be too risky.
And, you know, waiting on a Dora, it's not unusual, is it, in this situation?
Certainly not.
You know that, yeah, our poor dealer here is trying to, yeah, and here we are at the draw we predicted.
Yeah, so Okubo can see that if she had continued to fight for her hand, she would have won, but at the same time, it was just too risky to make that play, and so we will see one more hand. Kado,
Oh, we could see it. We could just keep going for, wow, I don't know, the timer is what, 80 minutes on this one?
I believe so, yes.
Can't keep going forever. Go on for another 20 minutes.
So at least one more hand, perhaps. And I feel like, certainly from Kado's perspective, she just feels like that was a missed opportunity. It was such a great hand, and she couldn't find the upgrade for the longest time that she was really looking for. This also looks pretty good as well. A completed set of norths, 2 completed sequences. We're in double Riichi territory?
Oh,
That's a double Riichi.
we are. It's double reach.
That's incredible. Okay, that's the hand you're looking for.
Everyone else on the table. Yeah.
No Dora, but double Riichi by itself.
I was about to say they're taking off the overlay because they've incorrectly marked Miyauchi as the dealer. That little red bar under their names, which is really not a helpful color next to the orange of the auto table, indicates the dealer if you are not too colorblind. So that's why the overlay keeps flashing up and off, and they still haven't managed to sort it out. So good luck, poor technical guy.
Oh, some more.
Oh, some more.
Oh, it's the north. It's not correct. Still double Riichi Tsumo 2000 all plus Honba plus all their sticks back.
Those faces.
What can you do?
Okubo and Kitagawa definitely thought this would be a much shorter end to the game, I think.
And what do you know? We will see more hands.
Yeah, we are delaying the agony maybe for these two girls. In some ways, Miyauchi's in a stronger position, right? Because her conditions are very clear.
Mm.
You know?
And at least
she wants to get second, she has to push hard. Oh no, she's 4th now.
Yeah, just barely. And that's still Kado has to be excited seeing this set of tiles as well. This time she doesn't have to sort it. She can see it's not a tenho immediately.
And Miyauchi, yeah, she's got to decide. Does she want 4th or 3rd? I think, right?
Yeah, certainly. Miyauchi still has, I think, an advantage even here because any Tsumo is going to drop Kado below Miyauchi.
Yeah.
Oh, and Kitagawa.
Because they're only 200 points. Yeah.
These draws are excellent for her. I want to see Okubo's hand.
Yeah.
It's not bad, but it's not as good as Kitagawa's, certainly.
Oh, no. Yeah, Kitagawa's is much faster here.
She even cuts a block, says, I'm satisfied with the shapes that I currently have. And wow, Kado! That's a crazy wide Ishanten. The number of tiles of acceptance in those shapes is insane.
Kitagawa's going fast as well. Tempai.
Immediately.
Reach, yes, 4-7 man.
Riichi Tanyo, potential Ipeko double sequence?
Yeah. Yeah, double sequence.
Twin sequence?
Twin sequence? Gosh, I can't remember. Do you know what? I translated them and I still can't remember.
But that's an excellent and again for Kado, can it get shut down?
I think Kitagawa's going to move if she can, right?
She's still Ishanten, not giving up completely here. And with the early Riichi, it can be hard to defend against, so sometimes you just fight. As a result, you say, that's my best way of escaping this pressure.
Oh no, we're not Tempai yet. I'm sorry, I misread the pin there.
Very, very close, though. Very wide Ishanten as well for Okubo, and both of them have reason to fight here. Both Okubo
It's
and
not
Kitagawa.
obvious what you can throw. Yeah, you can press to check the score difference, Kitagawa, but it's not going to change it.
Yeah, maybe
she is thinking hard though.
Just making sure that if she deals in, she still has some breathing room from Miyauchi.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's one of those habits as well you can see from people. So the 7-man could have come out from Miyauchi here. She looks for the weight on her. We were Tempai there, weren't we? Okubo was Tempai.
We'll get another look
and
momentarily.
Kitagawa's Tempai. I think they're all Tempai. So the 7-man could come out from Miyauchi here, where she looks for her. Yes, she is Tempai.
Yeah, same weight for 7-man.
Yeah.
We're in that head bump situation again.
Because she's going to fold. I was about to say she's going to want a good weight on that 7 pairs, but she's going to fold out.
Yeah, certainly. Can start with cutting a pair and maybe draw back some of those dangerous tiles into Tempai, hopefully.
Oh, she's back into 108, Ishanten. Maybe the 7-man come out. What's that one? 8. Oh, the Dora.
She's not going to push that Tempai anymore.
No.
And Okubo, rather, Miyauchi was holding all those dealing tiles.
Yeah. This is stressful. I am vicariously stressed for them.
It's so tense. Oh, the 4-man!
Yeah. Oh!
Okubo's gonna take it.
You can even tell the tension from the way they're drawing and discarding, right? They're all going fast. They all want to see how this is gonna end.
Okubo will confirm first place in the end, though, with the one of the very last 4-mans. And Kado looks at that hand and says, that was my weight. That could have been me.
But Okubo is doing very well keeping that face as flat as possible, not rubbing it in. But that was a good keep of her first place. Well done.
Miyauchi will retain the 3rd place. Even though Kado lost the Riichi stick, Sumo would have done it anyway, so will be the 4th place for Kado in the end. Oh, fantastic finish,
Kado
though.
Did a great job fighting. Yeah, that was a great end fight. Yeah, no disgrace in that 4th place, I think.
Certainly. Well played by the entire table.
Yeah, so I think I mentioned, right, that I think Okubo would regret not pushing that hand when she was the dealer. I'll stand by that assessment, because she had a really awkward, elongated or last position where she could have lost at any point.
Yeah, that suddenly became much more tense than I'm sure she wanted.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, to get yourself into such a position, you really are starting to depend on luck. Kitagawa could have outrun her at any point, I think.
Kitagawa was looking like she had the hand there at the end until the Kado Riichi. Kitagawa still maintained a Tempai for quite a while before drawing the door and having to fold out. In the end, it was the 2 players in the 4-7-man that had the chance. Okubo coming out with a victory. And I believe moving forward in the games, we might be seeing more of Okubo as well.
I think we have Harrison, our new commentator, joining us for the game 2. It's all American stars at the moment, right?
Indeed. Harrison, welcome.
Hello. So
Hi.
excited to be back so soon.
Well, thank you for joining the commentary team. It's really good to have you on board. I've been looking forward to today.
I know, I'm very excited. Listening to the first game and the commentary too, I have a feeling we have very different opinions of Riichi. So that'll be fun to see going into this one.
That just makes
It's
for
good
the
to have
best
some healthy
commentary.
debate. Right? I like your picture as well. That looks like someone who's just won a Mahjong game. Did you just win a Mahjong game after?
No, I
that
was
picture?
so tired. That was when we ran the DC Open last year. And I was head judge, and I was so nervous throughout the whole weekend.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was,
wow.
I believe that was in top 16. So I think that was, or maybe it was after everything ended. So it was probably relief that I was almost done. I was like, okay, couple pictures, then we're good. We're out of here. I can finally relax. I was in a suit all day. I was like, I can get this off.
Being an organizer is tough. It's being tough.
Yeah.
But you're in the Rottle, right? And so your team is your team Snake Shack?
No, I'm with the Degenerates this time around.
Oh, you're on Jen's team. That's right. That's
yes,
why I was
am. I have not gotten a chance to play yet. Maybe tomorrow. We'll see.
You like me playing your Sama debut, Rodon Sama debut tomorrow?
Yeah, but almost my Sama debut in total. I think I probably have under 100 total Sama games.
That might be to your advantage. I mean, I know a lot of people play Sama with like Tenho rules or other clients, but Rodon rules are a little bit different. So you might be able to have a bit of an advantage just learning fresh with the no Tsumo laws and no, Kita no Pei, Nuki.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. Just, look at it, adapt to whatever it is, get on with the day. Hopefully get the flow to win hands. That's always been my Sama problem. So we'll see how that goes.
I'll be interested to see if Sanma gains a bit of traction outside of Japan, because it's super popular with professionals in Japan. Like, they love it so much. I'm not sure if it's because they have to play 4-player all the time, and 3-player is like a breath of fresh air. Having to play like 4-player, it's like a busman's holiday, right? You're like, or 4-player, whereas 3-player is the vacation. So, and is either of you playing in the ARA Invitational Qualifier, the American Riichi Association qualifier?
We are actually.
We
are both. Yeah, we'll be there next weekend. Corak 2, who I know has joined us, maybe coming later, also has made it into the Invitational. So that's happening next weekend. We're gonna whittle 64 down to 16 through a kind of brand new format. It's top 25%.
Yeah, much better odds than we were anticipating. So it's certainly
better for sure. But it's
I say this in all sincerity. America deserved its large quota allocation for 2025 WRC for sure. Like the work,
we've been powering up.
Oh, seriously, you guys have been powering up. It's been really exciting to watch from afar. So keep it up, America. But yeah, so I don't think it's been streamed or anything though, right? Which is kind of unfortunate.
No, that's one of the things. ARA in America in general is going to hit really hard this year, I think. I know for our tournament we're going to run at the end of April. We're going to be streaming at least one table, so that'll be a first time, and I think a lot of other tournaments are kind of going to follow that. I know PML has in the past. They're very famous for having a streaming table, but
yeah, it's not easy though. It's there's a lot of equipment costs and the people cost as well. Like you have to have someone switching, you have to have commentators.
You gotta have someone running it. Yeah, if you want commentary, you gotta have it. You gotta make sure it doesn't ruin the competitive integrity of the table. So you gotta make sure it's as non-invasive as possible. Gotta make sure it's fair and aligned with the other tables. There's so much to juggle, but that's the nice thing about America getting stronger with play. Now, the next step is getting stronger at event running, right? So
yeah, you've got that head count now that you can play with. But I mean, you've even got to find a venue though with the internet capability. Like that's something that's always been a problem for whenever we've had to run WRC things. Is they're like, yeah, sure, we've got Wi-Fi. I'm like, I can't run a stream over Wi-Fi. Certainly not your cruddy, Hall's Wi-Fi you got established like 10 years ago. And I've had to, when you're running the big events, you have to pay for the, the exclusive line, and that can run into thousands of dollars. That
Oh
stuff doesn't
yeah.
come cheap.
No, not
So
at all.
yeah, I think, sometimes the audience are like, well, just stream it. Like, just stream it. Like, do you know how
Yeah,
many
just do
tens
it.
of
Just,
thousands of dollars that
just,
could cost?
just hit a Yakuman all last. Like that's all you need to do. It's guaranteed win.
Hey, we almost
Yeah,
saw
I'll
we
just-
almost saw that 10-0.
Yeah.
That would have been cool. I like that. We just shut the
No,
stream
the
down, but that's
back-to-back
it.
Yakuman is this game.
Oh, I see.
I'm
I
going
see.
100% Yakuman rate. Yeah, for commentating these.
And Jen wants me to give a shout out for our book giveaway again. If you are a
Mhm.
subscriber to the World Rage Championship YouTube channel, if you please be a subscriber right now if you're not already. And when you are a subscriber, you can then join our book giveaway. The link is in the description. If you're already a subscriber, there's no reason to not be joining the book giveaway. It's free books. We won't know what you do with them later if you just have to burn them for heat or something. But yeah, I guess Nathanael, are you commentating after us, or are you?
Yeah, I'll be joining
You free
again.
for the night?
I'll be joining
Mhm.
again with the Corak later today, but for this second game, it will be the two of you.
Wonderful. Right. Oh, I'll listen to you later then, Nathanael.
Very good.
Yep, we'll catch you later.
Thank you. Right, okay, I'm looking forward to some good arguments with Harrison now. Set the stage, mate. Set the stage. I like an argument. So our game 2 teams as we go in. It's the same teams we just watched. Ampai
Yep.
and Kozue. Miyauchi is keeping her representation of Ampai. So she's not dealer, sorry, this time. I should have gone from dealer. I just saw her in the top corner, but she's in the west seat. So sorry, starting from dealer is Tomomi Okubo. From the last game, she's JPML and she's representing Hachioji Keio. In the south seat is Rina Hirooka. Make sure I get those two O's in. Mahjong StudyxStadium. She's also from JPML, so she'll be new for this game. And as I said, Miyauchi's joining us again. And we've got Aoi Bungo of Tokai or Nihon Pro Mahjong, who's representing PSJ in the north seat. So interesting to see if Miyauchi wants to make a good comeback to Okubo, who is senior, because I'm pretty sure Kozue is probably senior to Okubo, although I could just be saying nonsense, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it'll be very interesting to see. I think there's a lot on the line too for these teams, especially after that last game. The scores are getting tighter. Like this game, especially if Hachioji Keio like gets a fourth and Ampai even gets like a second, then they're about neck and neck. Maybe not quite neck and neck, but within one game. Even if Marshta gets a big first, they're right on the tail of Ampai. Excuse me. So a lot on the line.
Yeah, I mean, we're at that stage in the Yukan Fuji Cup where it's not just the conditions on the table, which would have been more important at the start. Now it's the overall conditions, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Ampai is still looking strong up there.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't want to let down your guard.
Yeah, I believe, is this there 8 games left, including this one? Something like that? Are they a little bit ahead of the tables that we had yesterday? I know the ones that we were streaming yesterday were around that range. I don't know if these teams have even less time than that to get that first swing.
I need one of those like big posters you get for like sporting events so I can know where we're at.
Right, that big bracket.
Yeah. But yeah, Okubo is our first.
Strong hands. Yeah, Okubo's got a good hand too. Shanten right now has some like interesting things. Has like a weird Sananko backup, or just very standard shape. Probably standard shape, but
the play we saw from Okubo in the last game, at least, was she was going for the smaller, faster hands.
Yeah.
I think we'll probably see her doing that again.
Yeah, just first Tempai getting reached. I mean, you're in the pilot seat too. You're dealer, so you kind of just want to build up the Honba, really just kind of hit those extra points hard, take control of the game, get that initial starting lead.
I hate being first east. Do you like being first east? I hate it.
I like that in north because I do the best in that in north. That's why I hate being West Seat. West Seat never ends well. We'll see how it pans out for Okubo too with that reach. Was that
She's in reach.
5/8? So right?
Yeah. I'll confirm it when it comes around.
Yep.
Yeah.
5/8 looks pretty good.
And she's
Could have
she's got a
potentially
door
tried to
in
work
there.
towards the Sanshoku. Oh yeah, she's got a door in there. Could have worked
Yeah,
up
she's
towards
got it.
Sanshoku, but it said we're taking
Oh.
it. Nothing
Yeah,
fancy.
yeah, get a first mover's advantage in here, I think, right?
I mean, you're a dealer too, so the second you let out like a reach stick, the board has to respect it. Like they can't really
Yeah,
do whatever they want anymore. They have to really weigh their options. And I mean, it
yeah.
seems like a good move. The other players had pretty okay, strongish hands, and have backed out. Everyone besides Miyauchi, but Miyauchi also has two Dora, so a lot of incentive to push, especially if Tenpai gets a little bit
Yeah,
closer.
and Okubo's team here is the second team in the group. So Okubo is going to be looking for
hmm
big points, and Miyauchi is going to be looking to not let her have big points. It's not so much of an
Yeah.
issue if the other two teams catch some points at this point, at this stage.
Yeah, I'd imagine
Um,
those two players are going to be playing pretty head to head and just focusing on getting above that other player specifically more than anything.
but Tsumo,
Sumo
Riichi
happens.
Pinfudora, and she
Not
doesn't hit
Pinfu.
again.
Reach
That's a
Sumodora.
mess. It's not Pinfu.
I-
Sorry.
yes, not quite 40 foot either because one so had to get thrown.
Okay.
Oh, no, never
Yeah,
mind.
you should.
2KO. Yeah. Not quite 40
Yeah,
foot, but still a
no.
good little pickup. Not too bad whatsoever.
Yeah, so she gets the reach stick that she put back in. It's always difficult to know how they do the calculations for that, right? When the points come up on the screen, she's like 7,000. Can't divide 7,000 by 3.
Like, what? It's not how that works. I see. I can't count, so I just trust it, and I'm like, oh, that's about 3. Yeah, that sounds
Yeah.
right. We'll send it. they put, they have a visual on the screen. That must be right.
Yeah, do you know what? I was okay at scoring, and then COVID happened, and I played online, and then after COVID, I had a baby, and so I played online more, and now
hmm
just completely useless at scoring, completely useless.
Yeah, that's how it goes. You ease up a little bit, and you're like, just a little bite, just a little taste,
Yeah.
just a one time treat. Oh, just once a week, just after lunch, and then it's just
But
all of a
it's
sudden you forget how to score, and
right, but it's not like riding a bike. Like your brain's a muscle. If you don't
no,
use it, you totally lose it. So
no, it's gone. It's like language in that regard. You gotta the second you stop losing it, it's whittling away.
yeah, yeah. So if anyone's got some hot tips on how to regain your scoring prowess, I am ready to hear them. Yeah, although I'm half anticipating the AI is going to fix the problem for me.
And that'll do it. Just get Google Lens or whatever it is, Google Glass.
I was about to say, is that still around? I thought we all
Nah,
decided
they
that was a
got
terrible
some new
idea like 3 weeks
version. They got
ago.
some new
Really.
version. Someone's gonna do it in a year or two if it's not already there. Boy, hands are
It was
progressing
exhausting.
along, but they're not doing too
They're
much.
not
Everyone's kind of getting caught up
exciting
on
though.
like this Rian Shantan.
Yeah. Um.
Bungo
Yeah.
tanking
So for
there.
those who aren't so familiar with the Mahjong terminology yet, the shanten is the number of
Yes.
tiles to get to tenpai. So
hmm
you can say one shanten, two shanten, or you might hear people say things like e shanten, which means one shanten, and dian shanten, which means two shanten, two away.
hmm
Irritatingly, e and dian aren't really Japanese numbers. So even if you're trying to learn Japanese,
Yeah,
the Japanese
it's
language is
not very
probably
useful.
not going to help you as much as you'd like.
Yeah, welcome to Riichi. It's Chinese, but it sounds like Japanese.
It's
Or
mangled
mostly.
Chinese.
Is
It's
it?
mangled
It's
Chinese,
it's
and sometimes it's mangled English, and sometimes it's mangled English into Chinese. It's mangled back into Japanese. So yeah, but
yeah, if you're
keep up
ever
the
wondering why I
joy.
play on vibes, that's why. Technical terms, all that, it's all a big mess. So you just,
Yeah,
vibe out the table. We got a Riichi on board. Bungo, just a standard reach pinfu. Might have
it's
been
not
a Dora
particularly
in there.
exciting, though, is it? But this is how the last game started, right? It wasn't particularly exciting. Lots of, smallish hands moving back and forth until suddenly, the battle lines had been drawn. And then we started to see the exciting moves.
I
So
mean,
again,
it's one of those things that depends, right?
I guess another tip I have, if you are watching Mahjong on YouTube without the English commentary, you're as I said, you're going through the other pro group channels, and the beginning of these games can be a little slower, so you could always skip through to the south round and watch how they play.
Don't say
with the conditions.
that.
You don't think so?
There's so much great nuance here. For instance, that Riichi happens, right? Boom goes off, and then Okubo, who's in the lead in the dealer seat, has incentive to, needs the points, all of a sudden gets pushed away and folds out this hand that has a nice pinfu. And now we see, again, even though we know these players, Okubo still is not going to just full Zensu push away, especially with the lead. She's going to back away a little bit, especially if you're Miyauchi here. You might even pick up on that, see, oh, dealer was folding, backing away. That means I might get away with a little bit of an extra push. And now I have the whole game to look and see, okay, is Miyauchi adapting, kind of seeing that on the table? Or, are these players going to kind of hold rock steady on their Riichi style and strategy and, not do too much reading and adapting to the table?
It's like in the meta.
Very nuanced stuff. I mean, this game hates me, so I have to be. I got to pick up on all the little stuff because God knows I'm not drawing stuff from the wall. So I'm like, okay, is this guy or is this player checking Suji? Is this player going to know Nakasuji? Is this player going to play aggressive if I Riichi? Is this player going to full Zensu? Is this player going to defend? And I got to just ring out any points I get.
I entirely agree. And I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. I just think that sometimes, if you're newer to the game, it can be quite difficult to pick up the nuances in the very start of the game.
Yeah.
Once those conditions are baked in, then you can start seeing the bigger plays, which you can start deriving some sort of strategy you can incorporate in your own game. The first discards are very, very important in every hand, right? But I think it's more difficult to understand the consequences of those 12 discards later.
Yeah, definitely. That's one of when you're starting out as a newer player, that's one of the things that's really hard to recognize. Those early game decisions of, okay, maybe I have 2 single Yaku high tiles and then an off 2-pin. Even just deciding I'm going to keep both of them. Ooh, when a Tenpai comes out, Riichi. Going to be on 5-8 so for Riichi Tanyao with 40 Fu, unless the sumo happens, but you get the extra Han. And that's going to be from Bungo as well. But yeah, you get that those small decisions at the start of the hand that seem very minimal, just butterfly effect immediately sometimes. And balancing those to do the right thing is really challenging, but can have such an effect right away on your game. I haven't picked up. If the Dama would have came out, which I think with that specific hand, you could argue potentially for Dama, just because of some upgrades. You could have gotten like a Nobetan. You could have gotten like a weird double pair weight, keeping that 5-pin fish for another con. Yeah, a little bit slower. But I mean, right now you have Riichi Tanyao, right? It's not worth a whole lot. Even if you draw the Dora, well, I guess Dora's Formon. I
was about
keep
to
thinking
say,
it's Dora indicator up there.
No. Again, if you're just joining the stream, that is not the Dora indicator. That is the Dora, which is super confusing. And Miyauchi wins it this time with her White Dragon Yaku called open.
Not a whole lot.
She's changed her clothes, but she's just taken a jumper off. She was wearing a nice white fluffy jumper. It's obviously gotten warm in there. Another problem with streaming, if you are trying to stream your tournament, is the heat that is generated by these devices. Yeah. It's not comfortable. And the other issue again is is, these players, they've all been told how to play on a TV table. I think, was it the stream before Christmas or before the New Year? And you could tell that some of them were not experienced of playing on the TV table because they kept leaning their shoulder forward and hiding their tiles. But and I don't think you can expect people who have joined up for an open to be playing stably enough for it to be a good stream.
And I mean, that's one of the challenges, given those difficulties, how do you sort of balance to make the best streaming experience you can? Am I just picking a different camera angle? Am I going just top down and not showing hands? Am I doing one of these other 4 options I might have where everyone's got its drawbacks and benefits?
Yeah.
Much like Riichi, you just kind of got to know what's more important. Pick it and stick to it.
Pick your battles. Miyauchi's one away. Ishanten.
I guess no Dora in it, so it feels big.
It's not that great.
Hasn't
but she's
quite got us there. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of food baked in.
Yeah, she's definitely drawn worse hands in the last game. So.
Yeah. Oh, the problem being now that or that wasn't Bungo. I think that was Hirooka, who looks like they have a decent challenging hand. Yeah. Ishanten as well. No white dragon on the board yet, too, so that could potentially catch someone up. Bungo, or no, excuse me.
And we have Tempai from Miyauchi. So she is just going to insta-reach it because she is the dealer.
Yep, everyone's been playing a little defensive, too, from, I'm sure, what Miyauchi has been picking up, so no reason not to hit that dealer reach. Large value. It's going to take a lot to convince someone to push against it.
Yeah, I would just fold. There's no need. She's just got a Riichi Dora. It's not particularly exciting. That 8-pin that Bungo's just drawn would do nicely. And it's an obviously dangerous tile, the 7-pin reach there. So I don't think it's likely to come out, honestly. So Miyauchi's going to be relying on either drawing it herself or everyone else folding against her. Looks like the folding against to a draw is the most likely outcome here. I think we can see 3 of the 8 pins, 3 of the 5 pins.
That seems about right. There was 1 on the wall and then 2 and 2 in oh no, there's another 8-pin out. So that's all 8 pins. So all 4 8 pins and 3 of the 5 pins. So 1 5-pin, nowhere to be seen as of yet.
She's only got 1 opportunity to draw this. With that 4 7-pin discard right next to each other, right against their reach. If you do care about your Suji, and you're making that step to the next sort of defense level, that would hard indicate that 5 8-pin are dangerous.
Yeah, something's a little weird there.
That's your Urasuji, Matagi Suji kind of read that you would see on that one. And when you see both of those Urasuji and the Matagi Suji come out, you're like, yeah.
I'm interested why Bungo didn't want to discard both white dragons to start the hand, or at least start the defense, I should say. When Miyauchi Riichi's there, I would think that while white dragon's kind of your very quick route, if it comes out to a fighting hand, it's also a very good Mawashi. You drop white, it's extremely low chances of dealing in. With the asterisk of 4 7-pins weird to reach
on. There's the other 5-pin.
There's the last 5-pin, and at least you have a chance to draw around that 8-pin later too. Your hand's not completely dead. I think Bungo never had a chance just with how the draws are going, but
I mean, maybe she kept it because she thought,
she's Xing, I guess, to move Hote. Yeah, just doesn't want to deal with Hote. Yeah, I don't want to take the risk. I got a guaranteed safe tile.
It's an exciting move, though. I don't recommend it.
That's another one that you have to have a very specific idea of what you're trying to do and what the board is.
Yeah.
To really utilize it correctly.
Yeah, I would not recommend. Don't try that one at home, kids. Do not try that one at home.
Yeah, you got to really know what you're doing. You got to remember too that while everybody at this table is what's the word? Very skilled, very decorated. When you're playing against people who may not be as well, and you do that, the person you gave Hote to might just decide, oh, this tile's fine, and then all of a sudden you've inadvertently given dealer an extra ha and upgraded them to Mangan, and now you're just like, well, I'm not fourth, but I'm not first.
That's one of the things I love about Riichi Mahjong, though, right? That you know, you can be annihilated by a complete beginner because you just can't read them. They're completely opaque. There's no point putting too much on their discard pools because
they don't know. They don't know what they're doing. You think that's based on efficiency? Nah, they don't like the look of that one tile, so they just put it in front of them. They just don't want to play it.
Yeah, that tile was mean to them last hand, so they're just gonna throw it straight out, even if it's the Dora. Yeah, precisely.
Oh, that's a huge pickup. Kanchan filler for Okubo there.
So Miyauchi's draw is not looking so great, but that 6-man was nice. That could be potentially a straight there, right?
Yeah, you have the you can call aggressively on any of Hirooka's discards to kind of force that straight. You would need 9-mon, 4-mon, but
I wouldn't like calling a straight like that. I have to be honest. It would be.
It's very aggressive. You're in the dealer seat though.
Oh,
so
but you
now
just drew it. You just drew it.
What I'll be interested to see, I don't think it'll ever happen, is if a Dama comes out. With that shape, I don't think you ever do, but if you have like a 1-2 penchon, or if you have a 1-2 waiting on like a 3, I think it's very common. Oh, and we're gonna draw Tempai on the Sozu, and we're gonna take a Riichi on waiting 6 or 9-mon.
9. Yeah.
Taking that Nobeton, that double-sided pair weight.
Yeah, looking for the pair.
Very strong. I mean, it's essentially the same as a 7-8 weight, but you see 2 of them. But I mean, shutting down 9-mon for people, especially when you can look at the wall. X-ray vision, Epod Sumo, Reach Epod Sumo.
Oh, she doesn't hit a door, unfortunately for her. But she
No,
does collect some reach sticks, and she is the dealer. So they're big points. Big points.
I mean, that alone evened out the hand that Okubo won at the start of the game to kind of jump ahead, and now Miyauchi's picked up a little bit more along the way, so she's leading.
Miyauchi wants revenge after the first game. That's what's going on here. You can see it in her eyes now. She's like,
oh yeah, back. She's dead serious. She's gone. I'm not going out like this.
No. You're coming. You're coming down with me now, lasses.
Yeah, I wonder if she's towards the top of the individuals too. That's one of these things that players might be thinking about, especially for somebody like Bungo, whose team is very far back. I guess Hirooka too. If they have good individual sort of player stats, they're incentivized to do a little bit more pushing towards that end, or maybe a little bit more defending than you would if it was just all or nothing get first.
You'd hope. Yeah, I mean, if you're near the top of the individuals and your team was that far down, definitely be harsh words in the green room afterwards, right? I don't think we get to hear enough of the dynamics of these teams behind the scenes. Do they blame each other, do you think? I know it's sort of Rattle. Everyone was being really nice about their teammates. But
I think it's one of those things where it really just depends. It's hard too when everyone's so skilled, because it's not like, for instance, in America, like I'll tell my clubmates a lot of the time when I watch their Armal games, like, hey, you really got to work on this aspect, like especially if you want to rank up, like very clearly this is the weakest part of your game. Like if you want to improve, that's what you should focus on. But like when stuff like that is, already fixed and it's just super nuanced, oh, you have to push you know, when it's specifically you're going up against likely 3 Han or less, and you have 3 Han matched because of like team dynamics, and that's how you're losing your
Mm,
5% edge over,
mm,
you know, which gets pronounced over however
yeah.
many games they're playing. It's completely different, right? And some of these players might just have a bad streak. Like you have Hanemon Tenpai, you miss it 4 times in a row. One of those times you get challenged and deal into Hanemon. You can't do too much about that.
No. No, it's good to hear that you're doing that sort of coaching behind the scenes. Hirooka and Bungo's hands are being completely held back by these awkward East tiles that they have. Um,
Yeah.
I think it's
It's
going to have to come
it's
out.
so hard with like the Doryaku
Oh,
High. Well, no longer for
oh, oh,
Bungo.
Bungo has paired it up. Okubo's hand moves forward with this 5 bamboo draw. That is a good draw for her, but she's got
Yeah.
decisions to make. I would like the 8 pin
I
or the
think
6 pin.
4 so.
Oh, she's
I
going
think
for the
4
3. Oh,
says
you
okay,
reckon?
3. It's an
I just
interesting
wouldn't
answer.
want to move away from the potential 7 pairs because 7 pairs is a good defensive strategy.
Timber beyond
That is
Pico. That
not
is true. That
Senpai.
does play Dora. I mean, the other thing though is like with shape like that, you could
There you
also
go. There's
argue
the
you
7
just
pairs.
wait
7
singular.
pairs.
Yeah, but what are you gonna wait on here that people are gonna drop? You don't even
7
have
pairs.
Dora. You have to drop that 5, 6 like
Yeah, no,
bamboo
you're
this late
quite right.
into it.
It's
Either
a
that or
it's
you're
a
waiting
hot
on it,
mess
no
on
one's
the
gonna
7
come bet.
pairs. Yeah.
That's what I'm
Um
saying. It's trap hands, bait hands. 7 pairs, it's just bad, it's overplayed. It's not that good. It should be played
It's
like
not
a
that
Pinfu. If you have Dora 2, you know, reach it, go hard for value. Otherwise, you're kinda trying to Dama snipe, get away with some cheap points, move
But you see,
dealership, stuff
I
like
think I
that.
think I think so. Oh, and we have
Ooh, Tenpai coming out.
Riichi. Yeah,
That
wonderful.
is oh, that's 1436?
Yeah, 3, 1,
So,
3,
I
4.
believe?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm trying to
1346.
I'm trying to re-visualize it in my head. But the good thing about 7
Oh,
pairs is you can nicely defend it, except for when you have the
Tenpai
5
here
and the
too.
6 in your hand. Yeah.
Honest, what about the 4 so? Genbutsu 2 pin? Oh, both 2 pins are out though, that's kinda bad. I kinda like 2 pin, 2
Uh,
pin here.
I know, I about to say, I think she's gonna throw the
Ah!
9. I think she's gonna can play completely safely.
Well, the 2
I mean,
pin's
that's a
safe too,
great
it's
way.
Genbutsu. Oh, and a
Well, yeah,
counter
but
Riichi coming out on 360.
yeah, it's not necessarily safe on the others, the 2 pin.
It's
9 man
Genbutsu
is
to 1
hard safe.
more player.
Yeah, it's hard safe though. Oh, and there's the
But
East, you couldn't do nothing about that.
you gotta experiment a bit, you know? You gotta test the waters. If you're
Oh,
scared to
bold player.
everybody this late into the hands, then you're never gonna win any hands. That's because I know if I don't push stuff like this or I don't look for like these opportunities, I'm just not winning. I'm going Yakitori and I'm sitting back all game and I'm not getting points.
I feel like I'm talking to someone who's got, like, post-traumatic stress disorder from Mahjong.
That's how it feels sometimes. Oh, Sumo coming out too. We drew a
Miyauchi
6.
Sumo's it. Nice for her. Does she get
Great
the
Sumo
Ura?
Pintan.
She's not hitting those Uras, but she is the dealer, so it's gonna be good times.
Should be 28 all, right?
Mm. Continuations.
62. Oh, it was Sanshoku too, so that's Hanemon actually.
Yeah.
Ooh. Hanemon Sumo's
Interesting.
dealer. That'll definitely help Miyauchi. And now this game is
Yeah,
kind of
I
turned on
mean,
its head. Oof.
for Miyauchi, surely she just defends, right?
Oh, I
Does
hate
she
that.
want
Now
more?
we're thinking about individuals. No, you're
No, no,
up.
no,
You
no.
gotta still stay
Yeah, but her
aggressive. Still
team is
push.
up as well. Her team is up. She is up.
That's
Why
why
throw it
this is
away?
the perfect time to push more if you're going for individuals because now you've widened the gap. And the other thing is,
Mhm.
now that you've widened the gap, you know what happens now that you've gone up? The other teams get down. What happens when you get down? You get more desperate. The cracks start to show. This is the perfect
You're
time.
scary. If you're coming to
This is
play with the
great.
gentleman in next weekend, I am really sorry. He's scary. I'm scared of him. This weekend or
Oh,
next weekend? I can't.
next weekend for the invitational.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, that's my favorite. Remember, Mahjong, especially Riichi Mahjong, is a net zero game. So the worse time other people are having, then the better time you're having by default because it's got to zero out. That's how you got to play. Someone's got to be the villain. Everyone's too nice. That's why I
It's like
always try to
blood in
make
the
sure.
water for you.
Exactly, it's great. That's the best part of this game. Ugh,
Oh, I've
that's
enjoyed
my
talking to you.
favorite. It's not enough making sure other people lose. You got to give them despair. You got to take away their
Tell me,
hope too.
other people
That's the
miserable.
best. That's the best.
So how comfortably were you into the WRC? Sorry, the ARA. Is it ARA or ARA? I'm never really sure.
You either one. We've been saying
Okay, so
ARA, but ARA,
ARA sounds
also.
too close to an unfortunate acronym in this country, so I'm going to go for ARA.
Oof, that works.
Like, yeah. So
I was all right in there. I've known that I was qualified since the NAO, or I was most likely
oh,
qualified.
okay,
Um,
that's
but I
relaxing then.
was on the I was on the kind of bottom end of it though. I got a
That's
9th
10,000.
very early on. That should have been an 8th. Ooh, was that Damaten?
Yeah, she's got an Ipeko.
Okay.
She's got a clumsy south pair there. Yeah, so 4/7 man.
Yeah, but it's Pinfu. Well, I guess it's just reach Pinfu Ipeko. Be a 3-Han Riichi. Although with 2 7-sos out, it's a bit harder to justify, I'd imagine.
And she wins.
Or 4/7 yeah.
Yeah, so it's Okubo.
Just take quick points. I guess just says, you know what, I'll prioritize win rate. I'll
Just
make
push
sure
it forward.
Miyauchi stays
Yeah.
off dealer, yeah. But yeah, I was fairly okay. I got 30 qualifying points, and I think there were 8 people that got mid-20s, mid-low 20s that got in. Which was not very far from the points I got with how the qualification system worked. But, you know, even ending in 50th, it's good enough. I think I was like 52nd by the end of it, something like that.
It's because some people manage to qualify in without attending too many events. Because that was always my concern. Because America's so vast that there'd be this pressure to attend a lot of events, and I don't think that's entirely fair on people's pockets, if nothing else.
Yeah, that was the hard part, kind of balancing, giving people a fair chance, but also thinking of not just having you buy your spot in. I
Right.
think there's a happy medium, especially with how many people are invited to the invitational too. Especially the really good players. If you could go to like 2, maybe 3 tournaments, you definitely had a very
Strong chance,
fair,
yeah.
reasonable chance to get into it. Yeah, if you made top 8 at any tournament, practically, then you got a spot at the invitational. So
sounds like a very successful system. And I mean, you still have to fly to New York, but at least said the
it'll be
invitational
San Francisco next year, I'm sure. San
next.
Francisco,
You're doing a rotation maybe, but yeah, it was just a shout out to our sponsor Sparrows Nest or JPML. They do have a great space out there in Manhattan, so
it is very fun. Very cool.
Yeah.
One of the only true Mahjong parlors in the US at the current moment. I think one of
it is
5 maybe.
It is poor Dave's folly as well, so you should go and admire it. I love that man, but he is an eccentric for sure. When the history books are written, he's eccentric.
That's a funny way to describe it. Ooh, call coming out. Is that on the Itsu?
See, Miyauchi has tasted blood. I think you and her would get on well. She is not gonna sit back, even though she is doing really, really well. She wants to inflict pain.
Yeah, the Haku. That's the good part. Again, especially if you're close to those individual standings, why not?
And
and that's
is
Tempai
on the 6-9 pin, which is a nice Tempai because they are sat in Bungo, who is in Riichi, and the dealer. Sorry, she's not in Riichi, she's the dealer. And Bungo's discard pool.
Yes. It is a little clumsy, or a little bit kind of scary, because there is, I was going to say there is the
Bungo is in Reach.
Bungo is in Reach. Bungo's in Reach.
Sorry, I thought she'd Reach, and then it's not on the overlay though, so whoever's on the
I just
overlay.
look at the table and just
Oh, really?
vibe
That's
it
right. Because
out.
I remembered the reach, and then I was like, but where is it on the overlay? I scanned it, and okay, yeah, all right. So it's in the dealer reaches discard pool. So that 6/9 pin is a great weight. That's my
Yes.
conclusion.
The one scary thing is Souths aren't accounted for. We can see them in Hirooka's hands, but especially with Miyauchi having that white dragon called Pon, that could very likely or very easily fit into their hands.
Mm.
So it might not even necessarily be a cheap deal in to Hirooka and Okubo. So they might still be playing defense thinking that Miyauchi could have a bit of a stealthy killer
Mm.
or stealthy cannon.
Gosh. But yeah, Hirooka's hand is one of
Struggling
those
to
hands
get
you want
those
to happen.
Dora.
Yeah.
I mean, if Hirooka would have showed a little bit more bravery, would have done some scary pushes earlier, I believe she would be in Senpai right now. But oh, with the third Dora too, we're still Ishan 10. We have furry 10 problems on some of these. Actually, I think any
Yeah.
draw around the 8 would do it, but Miyauchi
What's that?
Sumo's on the 6 pin. Very
Yeah,
cheap.
Michi is
Bungo just
she's
kicked
moving
off
fast
dealer.
now.
Yeah.
But Miyauchi can afford to pay into a few hands.
Yeah, that's the other
She's got
thing.
a healthy
Even
lead.
like an 8, even a Mangan potentially into somebody as long as it moves dealership might be beneficial. When you have that much that many points to get around, you can afford to give a little bit of a bigger payment in order just to make sure the game's progressing. People aren't taking too many what I like to call hits on the Tenho slot machine at the start of every hand.
Yeah, and of course, the more time you give people, the more time they have to build value into their hands.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah. Hopefully you're gonna make it to Tokyo and then you can meet Miyauchi and I'll be like, Miyauchi, here is your soulmate.
God, we'll see, but one step at a time. Let me tell you that
Are you
I'm worried
stressed? Are
enough
you
about that
anxious?
next one. Oh,
Oh, you
I'm
are?
so
Okay.
anxious. I am a little bit of a
I'm so
nervous
sorry.
Nelly, a little bit of a. That's fine. That's fine. That's
But
okay.
it's
It'll
good
only
odds.
hit me on the bus ride up. Then it's gonna be terrible. Then I'm gonna be
Oh, you're
awful for like
taking the
2 days.
bus? How long
Yeah,
is the
yeah.
bus journey?
It's not too bad. It's probably about 5 hours in total. They'll break
Oh,
for like a
okay.
half hour in the middle. It's not bad. It's pretty
Oh,
cheap
that's
too.
reasonable.
So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Just saving the environment. Although maybe that didn't come into your consideration.
It saved
Um,
my bank account for sure. Which
that's one thing.
we'll save
Yeah.
the environment though. Will make me look a little bit better after my villainous comments earlier.
We'll rehabilitate your image, but yeah, no,
Put some
and
spin
as you
on
said,
it.
it's a 25% chance. It's not bad. Just
Well,
imagine if
again,
you'd only had if
I
America had had
again
the same sort of quota it had in previous events, 4, 6, 8 seats, it'd look a lot
25%
worse.
too is not how I've been looking at it. There are some very strong players that I expect to be guaranteed to make it. And it really does not feel like we're rolling dice. It feels like metal is going to get tested, and the people who can make things happen are the ones who are going to end up with seats. So
You've got to get into the heads then, haven't you? You've got to get into the heads now. They're
that's
watching, be
that's the
scared.
goal.
Be watching, be scared of Harrison. He's coming after you.
People have watched too much of my play. They know it's just,
Mm.
fake big brain, and I'm actually just dumb. So they just stop caring. That's the problem. Everyone going's too smart. They just realized, oh, you play normal against Harrison, and it just works.
I mean, that's a good point though, is that even having qualified into the invitational is actually a great achievement. There were a lot of players in that qualification cycle. I counted
Mhm.
them at one point. I don't have the stats in front of me
It's
because I was working out your quota, and I used that as one of the figures that kind of informed my
yeah.
decision. But I was like, that is a lot of people.
I believe it was about 400 different players who attended
Yeah.
tournaments, which counting people who are ineligible or were qualifying through other country, I would say probably around 300 eligible players
Yeah.
at least. And
Mm.
you
I think it
know,
was
there are a
higher than
lot of
that, but
people.
yeah.
It might be, yeah. But it's not something everybody did. I can take that with me, but, you know, fingers crossed that this is the second biggest tournament of the year I'm attending and not the, first biggest, you know?
Mhm. We've been neglecting the play though, so I'm just kind of looking into it as for Hirooka looks for her tenpai.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Um,
Miyauchi's gonna just, again, take that really quick, fast, cheap win, get the game moving along, not do anything too fancy.
no, why
It's
wouldn't you?
definitely Hirooka trying to battle it out, take that reach pinfu, but again, we're in third row, so now it's getting kinda late. Bungo's found herself a
Yeah.
bit of a Tanyao call, sort of helping helping the speed of the hand potentially, or at least a better chance to get in the K10, maybe sneak 1,000 points, but
Yeah, so if you're not familiar with the Japanese terminology, keiten is where you have a tenpai shape, but you don't actually have a yaku to win on. So if you get to the draw, you can still declare tenpai, but you wouldn't be able to declare a win with it. Is that a good enough explanation?
ooh. Yeah,
Over my
yeah, I
coffee.
would think. I thought
That's
it
my-
was just getting Tenpai at Ryukoku, but
Yeah, but okay, so
you
but
may
you can
very
get it
well be
before.
right.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah. So
terrible at
Ryuka
yeah,
could
yeah.
be in the draw. So, but yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, exactly right. But yeah, obviously you can take
Ooh,
that.
when that
Okay,
comes
cool.
out, that is gonna
On
be a
the seven,
huge
was
hand.
it?
Yes, Reach Pinfu Dora Sanshoku. So that is going to be Mangan, if I'm unmistaken.
Hiroka.
Big hand for
Yeah,
Hirooka. I believe that was Miyauchi who dealt in too. Yep.
yeah. Yeah, she doesn't want to be thrown into too many mangans. I mean,
Well,
she's got some back
I
behind her.
again, this is kind of what I was talking about earlier. Miyuchi's super far ahead. So even though that was a Mangan deal in, it wasn't direct points to Okubo. So instead of a 16k effective swing by Okubo
Mm,
gaining 8 and her losing 8, she just lost 8. And now Okubo's not on dealer. So, you know, 50% of her value for every hand or an extra 50% is just gone. She has to get it
mm,
honest straight, no dealer hands to help kind of make that jump to catch her. So that 8K, and Miyauchi may have even recognized that and said, "You know what? I'm willing to pay that." Like, odds are this is at most Mangan, or most of the time at most Mangan,
mm,
so I'm gonna play it, hopefully dealer moves. I'm fine paying 8K to make sure that happens.
mm.
Ooh,
I don't like
Bungo's
Bungo's hand.
building up a bit of a killer. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
I don't like though.
clumsy, but, you know,
I can
you
see.
can, you got 2 Dora, you have that backup 7 pairs
Good
you
draw.
might be able to play. Um I feel like
She's so far
unfortunately with
behind though.
Japanese. Yeah. I was gonna say I feel like with the Japanese meta, Toy Toy, a hand that I love, just
Oh yeah,
is not
yeah.
as viable just because people
No,
recognize it and they will defend better. Oh, but when
yeah.
you get your Yakuhai West, you'll call that.
And West is the Dora here as well.
Mhm.
That's a huge
Yeah,
call for her.
it's 8K revealed to the board. I mean, honestly, Bungo very close to a half flush too, so that could be a Hanemon locked and
Hey,
loaded.
Hanuman.
And with that
She's
8, I'd imagine one pin comes out. Yep.
calling again. Yeah.
This is gonna go E Shanten for that huge hand. One
Yeah.
to
I
put
just don't
her
think
in the
people are
running
gonna
for second.
I don't think people are gonna throw the bamboos to her now though. She's
But
gonna have to
remember
call
this with
herself into the
Honitsu.
Okay.
Even if people don't throw it, it doesn't matter because that means they can't throw it. Very big
Yes,
difference.
okay, that's true. But and I'd agree with you unless she wanted to win it, and she wants to win that. She needs to win this hand.
That's true, but I mean, if you're gonna bring the value to it, sometimes you gotta be the one to get it out of the wall, you know?
Yeah. I
It's
yeah, I'm not
obvious,
saying I
but
wouldn't have
that's
made
the
those
Honitsu game.
calls. I would not say I wouldn't have made
Oh,
those calls. I'd most definitely would have done the exact same thing. It's just she's now
it's tough,
in the
yeah.
lap of the gods. Yeah.
We got some Damatens too. Damaten 7-so for Hirooka. We have Damaten 4-so for Miyauchi.
But I think it's because they're, they don't want to have to throw bamboos into this.
Yeah, they don't want to be defenseless.
Yeah.
The 7-so makes sense, and I guess the 7-so is dangerous. Maybe now we have Sanshoku, so all of a sudden Hirooka has Yaku.
And it's
Although with the
caught,
second
and now
7-so out, it's going to be tough.
yeah, and now she's Tenpai 2 and 4 bamboo. Not sure.
There is head bumps, so
there's no 2 bamboos left. I think there's only 1 4 bamboo left, right? There's only one, so there's only one tile that's going to get her out.
I believe
Yes.
That being said, there's some switches. If you draw a 5-so, then you get 3-6. I'd imagine that's going to get snap switched unless there's some danger sensed.
Yeah, I think
other people could switch around too. Probably not, but
that's
yeah, folds out, gets a little scared, and then happens to draw the win. But defense is there. Yeah, sort of same thing.
Boss hand's dead, I'm afraid. She doesn't know it, but
yeah,
it is a goner.
That's one of those tough things about defending against Honitsus too. Like figuring out how to Mawashi in a whole suit is really hard. Yeah. Especially
so
if
Mawashi,
the wall just gives you like 4 or 5 tiles.
Not accustomed to the Mahjong terminology. Mawashi is where you basically dance around and play safe.
Yeah, it's instead of full folding out, instead of saying I'm going to play the absolute safest tile in every scenario, you go, you know what, I'm going to dance around a little bit. I'm not going to completely destroy my hand, but I'm going to kind of get rid of a safer shape in my hands while still leaving a route to win later.
Exactly. That's a much better explanation. Dancing around is a terrible explanation, but that's how it feels, like dancing on hot coals.
It really is, yeah.
So you've got to generally have a good read of the table, good read of your opponents. And
wow, that's not a chombo? That's crazy.
No. Typically not, actually.
Well, that's very weird for because we had conversations on this for America on whether that specific type of instance is a chombo. Because of how like important the Rinchan tile is for knowledge. And sumo. Hirooka should just be Sanshoku sumo. So 3 Han, I believe.
Yeah.
Yep. 2K all.
Yeah,
I mean, against that Honitsu that, was Hanemon, that is not too bad. Keep dealership, keep the bar low.
I'm personally not in favor of penalizing such an obvious.
It's really hard, right? Because it's obviously an accident, but that's why you put that tile down. So because it's such big knowledge that can you continue the hand normally if you know what that tile is.
Yeah. I think there's also an argument as well. If everyone saw it, then the information is held by everyone.
Yeah.
Right.
And again, that is part of it too. As long as it's even Stevens. I think if Rinchan's not a Yaku, then that's pretty fair. With it being a Yaku and you can sneak out like Rinchan Nomis and stuff, though, it feels very strong.
Yeah, it's I can understand why there'd be conversations.
Yeah.
And Okubo is doing a good job of drawing tiles, which means she has to make hard decisions. Well done.
Yeah, now she has to go, okay, what shape do we not like? Chooses the 1-2 penchant closer to the Dora. Smart, as we can see, with 3 Mons pretty held up, and Bungo also needing 3 Mon. Ooh, Tenpai. I believe that is Dora 3 Haku. That is Mangan. Oof.
Yeah, that's fast. You don't usually see them that
sneaky
fast.
Tenpai. Yeah, especially with that
Yeah.
value too in Akanashi and no
Yeah.
reds. Oof. Huge hand for
So
Bungo now. Bungo's super back
yeah.
into it too, especially with a dealership left. And now Hirooka's kind of left to the dogs as well. She's got to figure out how to really bring this game back with just 2 more hands available.
Yeah. So Miyauchi's got a dealership back, so
Yep.
Very interesting to see if she gets some of her angry flair back.
Maybe. I mean, she's got a good hand to do it. From what I was seeing, we were Pinfu 1 away, maybe 2 away. Had a Sanshuku, a mixed triple sequence. Very possible in terms of 2, 3, 4 there. Very quick, aggressive hand. And again, when everybody is playing so defensively, especially as dealer, you kind of just get to Riichi for free. You kind of you're just running the odds of, does somebody defend against me and happen to also get a winning hand while they're doing that, prioritizing defense, which is not very likely.
So have you had an opportunity to play outside of America, or have you only played in America
I
so
have
far?
not. I've actually never been outside the country in general. I do apply
Okay.
for my passport, which hopefully is not in mail purgatory. But yeah, that's why I'm hoping to give myself a reason
Wow.
at WRC,
I
right?
was about to say that makes the qualifier an even bigger deal, right? And we are Riichi from Miyauchi. Nice.
Riichi on 5'8"
5'8"
pin,
pin width.
decent weight from what I remember. There's 1 on the board. There is 2 in 2 in Okubo's hands. I guess 2 in Hirooka's hand too. Oh, in Ipatsumo. That's that X-ray vision.
Yeah. And that's
It's the
2 Dora.
Uradora too. So Riichi Ipatsumo Pinfu Dora 2 should be Haneman. Yep.
That's what the counting on my fingers tells me, yeah.
Well, believe me, I got 6 up too right now. And now the Miyauchi's kind of running away with it, especially in South 3.
Oh yeah, it's gonna take a lot
much
for her to
harder.
come off that now, yeah. So really, the other 3 ladies are gonna be looking to see for second, right? We've got one of those dynamics. Miyauchi's so far ahead. Bye-bye Miyauchi,
Yep.
you're so high up. So now they've got to work out their second places.
Yeah, even Yakuman Sumo is not gonna find it close enough to pass Miyauchi.
It would be difficult to keep your moral up with these team totals. Because Miyauchi's not only up on this table, her team is very far up in the standings. As you said, it's unfortunate I don't have the individual standings in front of us because that might modify the play styles.
Game conditions, win conditions.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of those things too. When there's such a gap that I think it almost makes it more difficult for Miyauchi, especially if she's like trying to get some more points on the table, because at the end of the day, there's always value in playing good, solid Riichi. If you play bad, especially for fishing when you go down, then everyone can always make that argument against you. Oh, well, you shouldn't have, maybe you didn't do this right. Maybe you didn't do that. You were down too much and you didn't play bad. If you're playing solid the whole time, then people can say you fish more, but you could also just argue, I played solid. Look at how I was when I was down. I just couldn't quite get those tiles to me in time. It just, the wall wasn't letting me have my day. At least that's how I view it.
Is there any particular player going to the Ara Invitational that you are scared of, frightened of?
Oh, so many.
Of?
So there's
so many.
2 types. There's 2 types of players that scare me that I don't know how to play around. They are the flow players. You've all met them. They'll get 60K in a game, and you can play perfectly and defend back and do great. They can't stop winning. I don't win much, so I don't really know how to make up the difference for that. The other one is Dama players. I sort of get knocked off balance. I'm still getting used to a Dama heavy play style. And I think there's 1 or 2 players that are a little bit more dama heavy. I think in general, America is much more Riichi heavy.
I blame
Um,
Mahjong Salon. The
yeah,
button beeps up at you, or slam it. Yeah.
you're definitely right. But I also think Riichi is a little bit undervalued from what I've seen overseas. And again, it's also that power balance of where you're playing against weaker players and they're going to drop your thing anyway. You might as well get more points for it.
That's
America's
true.
just now
That's
getting to where getting scenarios where everybody's good enough to where sneaking that extra win rate with Dama is a very real thing that you should calculate when deciding what to do.
So Jen has pointed out that actually I do have the standings. So at the
Ooh.
moment, Miyauchi is 21st in the individuals.
Oh,
So she's
yes,
pretty
and
high
with
up.
this game is probably gonna
Yeah.
climb
But
a little bit more.
Okubo is 3rd. So
Oh, wow, and that 4th is
yeah.
gonna hurt a that'll
Yeah, she's not
almost
gonna be
flip them with
she's not gonna be
Oka.
pleased with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Jen, for watching and correcting. So Jen, actually, I'm gonna have a big shout out to Jen.
Oh, of
She does
course.
all the player bios. She sorts out all of the files. She gets all of the graphics and all of that. She gets everything. Everything you are seeing, she sorts
Mhm.
out. She arranges the commentators. She schedules us. She is a one-woman wonder.
Yes.
The Bungo is 152nd. Hirooka is 43rd. But this is really an Okubo Miyauchi problem now, right?
Mirroring the 1st and 2nd, which I think makes a lot of sense when individual scores are tied to team scores, as we see Riichi hit the table. Miyauchi on Tumon, for Riichi Haku, Riichi White Dragon. And I think that's one of those everybody's playing defensive, so I just kinda wanna scare away the table, get a dealer repeat under my belt. And we're gonna see Okubo tank it out. Drops the 1 pin,
Yeah.
which I think is completely fine, that's fair. Maybe worried about a Dama from, or no, worried about Tenpai from, Hirooka, who's already called open with Yaku. But not quite Tenpai
And
yet, so it worked out.
Bungo is fighting.
Yeah, Bungo Tenpai on 3-so. Could just also be playing for that K10 or, points at draw. As Hirooka is forced out. Doesn't feel confident enough in the pushes having to be made. Both of those not oh no, 2-so was Genbutsu, so
Yeah.
able to drop that for free. Bungo doesn't have to sweat that too hard. Oh, but Miyauchi just cannot miss.
So
She is
if
on
you want to be
fire.
a really strong Mahjong player, just draw the tiles you need. I don't know why everyone complains so much.
And did get the 40 Fu upgrade on that, but didn't matter because with the Uradora, that is Mangan, 4K all. And honestly, if the game ends right now, which I don't think we're getting close to time
No,
problem.
we got time. We've got time.
Yeah, if the game were to end right now, then I think Miyauchi and Okubo are damn near switching places. Miyauchi's
Miyauchi
definitely
has
ahead.
Dora.
To Dora on the 6-0. It has the 9 pins though, so incentivized to keep the hand closed, played a little bit slower. But oh, these other hands are not the best.
No.
Hirooka is going to be a little bit slow. Miyauchi, great 3-pin pickup. Bungo slow.
That's a nice pickup for Okubo.
Although, yeah, Okubo is the only one with a good fight. I mean, Okubo is the one with incentive to fight too, so.
Oh, what are you going to do with that 7 bamboo, Miyauchi? You're not going to throw the 6, surely.
For efficiency, first attempt by, maybe worth it.
I don't know. Well, she's got so many points. Does it even matter?
You're in the dealer seat too. Even if you can just keep anybody else from getting a dealer, keep Bungo from getting a dealer and a big sumo to steal points away from you. That's worth a lot of weight.
I've noticed these draws are speeding up again. I feel like they're starting to feel the stress on the table, and this happened in the Audas for our first game as well. Suddenly, there was a lot
The
of speed
timer
in the
started to
draws
be
in this card.
relevant. Yep.
Yeah. I think they're probably going to be okay for time.
Everybody's got their
But yeah, I
adrenaline
mean,
rush. Well, the way
yeah,
Miyuchi's hitting, maybe not. She might have 3
uh,
more repeats under her belt.
it's true. It's true.
He had Ipad Sumo hit another Riichi. Oh, that's such a big draw. We're now Ishan 10 for Hirooka. Has been hitting huge big draws.
I'm feeling really sorry for the poor person on the switcher at the moment. This is fast play.
Yeah, we got a tank there. Okubo really trying to decide what's my best discard here. What shape do I want to cut away from? Probably entertaining win rates on a final shape and mixed triples if there was anyone that was likely. I don't think there was. Or I guess there's 5, 6, 7. So probably tanking that, figuring out is 5, 6, 7 mixed triple sequence for the extra value. Really doable with this hand.
Oh, and she did throw the 6 bamboo. You called it.
Efficiency. I mean, again, when you're in the dealer seat,
I'm telling you,
incentivized.
Miyauchi's your soulmate. She's your soulmate.
Oh, I would have
You've
never
got
thrown
the same
that.
play style.
I would have never thrown that. I would have thrown 9
You
pin,
would,
9
you
pin
know.
there. Live or die with
I
that,
would
Dora.
joke.
Then again, actually,
Maybe,
if I'm 74k up, maybe maybe win rate is what
as
I'm
I'd say,
playing.
maybe you need to channel Miyauchi for the Outer Invitational. She seems to be matching your vibes the most.
That might be the way. I'll have
And
to
she is
watch more
Tenpai on the
VODs. Yeah.
5-man, 8-man. Yeah, so I said before when Nathanael was commentating with me that Miyauchi recently ventured out of Japan to Australia to play there with the Australian Open. I think she had a good time. I only heard positive things. So if anyone does want to venture all the way down under, the Australian Mahjong Association is.
I've heard
they're a bunch of
Australia
really good
is
people.
very fun. I've only met one of their players so far who ventured all the way across waters to here, but nothing but positives. Ooh, 10 by
We are
2 for
Tenpai here as
Bunga.
well.
Has some
Yeah, well,
decisions, can take that.
Australians are laid back, right? I'm going to fall into the stereotype. They're laid back. That's interesting, huh? I would have been tempted to keep the 6 and
6,
hope
8.
for the 8. Yeah,
I
the 6
mean,
isn't going to come out.
could be one of those things too, where if you throw that late 6, maybe it's a win rate thing. Other players might be just a hair more incentivized to push against it because there's less value you possibly have.
I'd want
Especially
points.
with Bungo being the Riichi. Yeah, but especially with Bungo being the Riichi, she has a dealership left. So she's got a little bit of breathing room, right? Oh, what if he pots on the 8? Oh, that would hurt. That's the one that I always do. I tank those and I'm like, you know what? I've got my reason I'm doing this. And then you see that on the other side of your decision, and you're just like, oh.
I think it was strong, but yeah. And
Oh,
Okubo
and
is going
Riichi
to fight.
challenge.
I mean, she's the closest.
Katagiri too.
Yeah,
5,
so
8 mon,
Kuragiri
right?
is where you throw out the same tile that you just drew.
Yes,
Empty
can kind of
discard.
make it look, can make it look like you're waiting around the tile you dropped to Riichi, when in reality you're far from it. Or at least
And
that's
Dave
the
likes
most
to call it
typical situation. Ooh,
Dave
an
likes to call
Ipad
it swappy
Sumo.
doppy. If you ever watch Dave commentating, he always says swappy doppy.
Swappy doppy, and it worked out. That's Reach Ipad Sumo Pinfu Dora Ura for Haneman, I believe. Assuming I read that hand correctly. Yep. Second, and that is huge. Especially giving individual standings. Her recovering, even plus minus 0, is a good end result here. Still a little bit away from that.
So just to recap on the individual standings, in case you missed me say it, the first time Miyauchi's 21st in the individual standings. Okubo is 3rd. So Okubo is not going to want to throw away points. She's going to want that second. She's not going to find first at this point, but that second is going to be a big deal for her. We might see her play fast enough to lock in a second, because the team standings, I mean,
it's
I think it's going to be very hard to knock Ampai off first.
especially with this huge game from Miyauchi. It's
Yeah.
going to be very tough. Yeah, Okubo might just be looking to lock in this -3.
I don't know. Is it poor form just to worry about the individual standings, or should you be shooting
No,
for the moon and escalating
I
your team
disagree.
to the top?
If I
Okay.
was if I was on Okubo's team too, I'd actually probably be rooting the other way too. I'd be like, forget us, we did our best.
Save
Miyauchi, we
yourself.
saw what Miyauchi did too. Believe me, no fault. But make
Uh,
sure you keep ahead of her an individual. We're coming
uh.
home with something, right? That pin's coming out. We're fishing a little bit. Okubo's keeping that south, which I think is just smart overall for her. Doesn't want to give anybody else the chance to even call it, especially when I'm
Mm.
off dealer. I really like doing that just because more
Well,
often than not, I find that somebody might be able to call that Dora
mm.
pair that is also Yaku high that gives them that Yaku. And when you give them that
Bungo,
guaranteed Mangan, it's scary.
so Bungo curiously threw away her Sanshoku chance there to lock in her pair. And maybe I am
I
too in love with Sanshoku, but
think it
I just
was I
found
think
that
again it was
difficult.
like that efficiency thing and
Yeah.
fishing probably prioritizing the south pair um for
Yeah, well,
value.
she's Ampai now, I think, on the 258 man.
Yes.
So obviously, what she did was right.
Yeah.
Um,
Although not reaching, which I find a bit interesting, especially on a way like that. Oh, Ishanten. One away.
oh, she
Not
is
quite
Shanten.
there.
Sorry, did I misread the
Yes,
bamboos?
she needs 369 bamboo
Oh, right,
or
okay, I missed
258
the
mon for
bamboo.
Tenpai. I completely did the same thing. I was like, oh,
Oh,
8-8,
yeah.
that's surely good.
Oh,
But very
yeah.
strong
Sky.
shape. Any day
Yeah.
now, I expect it to come. Can you even call those pairs too if they come out to kind of just get a quick open Tanyao, hit that 10 ho slot machine once.
See, now she wishes she kept that 5 pin. Yeah, I didn't like that 5 pin drop. I gotta be honest.
With the
Um,
Sozu, it definitely feels a bit weird. I will say that I'm kind of biased against Sanmenchan because I've had too many Sanmenchan or three-sided weights like
so
that that
yeah,
I just
three-sided
miss
waves,
for no
exactly.
reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
um,
I will say I'm not a very superstitious player, but like Sanmenchan, the three-sided weights, and double Riichi are two things that I
Rich.
think just doom your hand to fail.
Okubo
And
reaches on the
Okubo
7
reaching on
bamboo.
7.
Oh, sorry, she reaches on the 4, waiting on the 7.
Betting on the 7,
Um,
which is Suji trapped. That being said, these players recognize
it's
from
not a
a
Soji
four
trap
six
on the
eight
reach.
bamboo.
It's never a
Yes,
Soji
on
trap
the
on the
reach
reach
tile
tile.
specifically, it's not because of this exact situation where it's 4-6-8. You discard 4. 7's normal Suji, but it also deals into that shape.
If you're playing with me
That being
on a
said, again,
table
defensive
offline,
table.
yeah, if you're playing with me and you want to trigger me, say that it was Suji on the reach tile, and I will lose my shit. I cannot deal with people who say that. It really, yeah, yeah. It's the way that Suji is used for evil, and for some reason, it really comes out on reach tiles, and I'm like, you can't read the Suji on that reach tile.
No, it's not. As long as you drop into my Nakatsuji traps, we're all good. As long as you're doing that, I will not say Rishi's fake. If you're not doing that though, if you're not checking Nakatsuji's,
And
all
we
bets
are
off. Ooh,
Tenpai
encounter
on
reach.
the 3-side weight, the 369. So Bungo is
Knock right out. Ooh,
oh,
E-Pods too. It's not Tanya, but it
and
will
she
be
hits
reach
the
Ifu
door.
E-Pods. For
Yeah,
Mangan. That's 12K.
she's the dealer.
Ooh.
Not too bad.
That's on Okubo
Oh,
too.
Okubo.
That's devastating for Okubo.
Woo.
I
Yeah,
mean, the good
that's
news is that your competitor to try to, get into second is dealer, so you can get a big sumo and you get a little bit of extra help just because the dealer's got to pay more. But that is not how you want that last hand to end. I was honestly kind of
no.
surprised Okubo took that Riichi on the 7. Like everyone's been playing defensive, but I always get a little weirded out in those all last situations because people kind of readjust their reasoning, I feel.
But whilst we're saying all that, if you really want to thank Jen, our hard worker, do give this live a thumbs up. Thumbs up. Make us very happy. And
yeah, like it, hit
let's
the
be honest,
bell,
this is the world. This is the world we live
subscribe,
in. Yeah, this
all
is the
that
world we live
fun.
in.
We
If we want to
need
win the
metrics.
algorithm, each like you give us is a like against Elon Musk. How about that?
Every like you give us, we give another cracker to our broadcasters in reserves. If you want them to
They
have
get another dry
snacks,
salted cracker.
yeah, if you want them to have snacks, which believe me, that's all we could get for it. We got to keep the likes up.
But in seriousness, it does help the algorithm, which means more people can find us, and that means more people watching professional mahjong, which can only be a good thing.
That's true. Streams like these, that's how people get started, and more people play, events get bigger.
Yep.
More support all around. That's that pyramid
Mahjong will
style
finally hit
support
the
structure.
mainstream. Finally, we
One
need to
day.
hit the mainstream.
We
It'll
just
be
need someone
wonderful.
big. Someone famous will be like, oh, this game's fun. We'll talk about it a little bit, and then boom, it'll explode.
I was desperate for Squid Games to have mahjong in it. I think that would have been the break we needed.
I feel like Squid Games would more likely have like Go or something. Although those are a little
Yeah.
bit non-thematic for it.
And I think mahjong is, unless they had like a mahjong mini game, I don't think you could show it. Just what are you going to do? A whole episode of people playing mahjong?
Well, what I wish
Yeah.
was Alice in Borderland, another popular series, had a
Oh yeah.
mahjong scene. But the second it started, it felt like it was basically over. I got so excited. I was like, yo, I know what's going on. And then it ended. And I was like, okay, guess we're just skipping this one. Ooh, and that's going to be Tenpai.
Yeah, Bungo
Reach
is
for Bungo
reach
again.
3-6
360.
bamboo. Yeah.
Yep. 6 is going to be Ipeiko too, that pure double sequence, meaning it would be Riichi Pinfu Tanyao Ipeiko.
Yeah. You'd want to send. Oh no, sorry, Miyauchi took it.
But the North comes out. Yeah, Miyauchi said, I'm gonna shut it down. I'm gonna get my quick Yaku high. No nonsense. You got your one dealer hand. You switched up standings.
The North is Dora as well.
Oh, yeah. So that was AK.
Yeah.
Ooh, that was a big swing.
Yeah.
I missed that. Not
Miyauchi
enough
was
to drop
finishing
below
some
Okubo.
fireworks. Yeah.
Yeah, lost below Hirooka. Wow, just Miyauchi running away with it. Absolutely dominating that table.
Yeah, Ampai, as our audience have commented, it is
Ampai, yeah.
they are running away. Ampai are, yeah. I think I said at the beginning, but Ampai kindly did the WRC 2025 website, and they did a beautiful job. So I'm secretly rooting for them because they make me happy.
It's looking good for him right now.
Yeah. So
real good.
Yeah. Gotta be honest, I don't think that game was as exciting as the first game. Partly because Miyauchi just kind of dominated.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, again, when you have that strong dealership, especially your second dealership, and you just keep reaching, sumoing, doing all that, it's how are other people gonna fight it? You know, everyone was playing pretty defensive, but when
they want that many throws, right?
That's that flow player. That's Miyauchi's the exact type of player I struggle with because I'm defending. She's drawing her own winning tiles. It doesn't matter if I defend. Mate,
I'll be cheering
3 away when it comes.
I'll be cheering you on from my island rock here. I really hope you do really well in the invitational, because I'd love you to be in Tokyo with us. I'd absolutely love it. I want everyone to be in Tokyo, and you know, it's the curse of having to organize the championship is that you know how many people you're going to disappoint.
That's the name of it. That's what makes it exciting, right? If it was a blue ribbon event and everyone got to play, the stakes wouldn't be as high.
Blue ribbon event. Okay, I'm going to remember that one. I've not heard that before. Is that an Americanism?
The Blue Ribbon Participation Award for sure.
Oh, interesting. Okay. I remember that blue ribbon. Yeah, no, it's not a blue ribbon event. It's a more of a battle royale event. But yeah, so that was exciting. You're not commentating the last game, are you? So we're not going to see you until later this month.
No.
I think we have 4 more streams this month, right? If I'm not wrong, with the third, second weekend and the final weekend, right, of January.
Yes. Right. Yeah. So probably somewhere around there. That.
Oh no, sorry. No, sorry. 25th, 26th. I've got it wrong. 25th and 26th. Have I got this wrong? Oh, 23rd and 24th. We're streaming. Oh look, someone put it up for us. Thank you. We do have 2 more. 23rd and 24th and 30th and 31st of January. We are streaming. Thank you very much, Nathanael, for putting that card up for me to read off. So we've got a lot of streams left in January. Only 1 stream in February and 1 stream in March. So we really are.
We're getting down
starting
to
to move towards, yeah. So a lot of these kinds of Japanese sessions, they go from April to March, I suppose. They follow the British fiscal year at least, and that's why, you know, if you like your mahjong culture, your anime, they always start with the spring blossoms, right? Because that's the natural start of the
beginnings.
Year. Unlike Christmas and New Year, which is a terrible start to the year if you ask me. Winter is the start of 2025.
Awful.
Awesome, great. Yeah, right.
Gross. We got 7 inches to welcome us around here.
Oh, well, I hope you have a really safe trip up to New York.
Of course.
I think we have a special WRC team report coming from Mio any second soon.
That's right. Around this time of the games of the broadcast table, Team WRC would have finished up their games, and we got a report from Mio regarding the outcome of the games that day. So we can hop straight into that.
Minasan, 明けましておめでとうございます。ミオです。今日は年明け初めての麻雀を夕刊フジで打ってきました。今日はトータル3回戦中、1回戦目がリカちゃんで、2回戦目と3回戦目は私が参加したんですけれども、結果は413で、チームポイントトータルマイナス 2.2 ポイントで、ちょいマイナスだったんですけれども、なんとか12節を終えて、まだ16組グループ内首位を守ることができました。パチパチパチパチ嬉しいです。この女子で、今年グループ内トップ通過を目指して、最終的には、チーム優勝目指して皆さんを元気づけるために頑張りたいと思いますので、引き続き応援よろしくお願いします。ではまた次回。
Yay! Hooray for Mio and Team WRC.
I'm clapping Team WRC. Well done, guys. I mean, it's no mean feat maintaining your first place in our group. Mio has been super cute. Little cat ears and all of that.
Yeah, and we actually have the standings of, you know, what the situation looked like at the time. Team WRC had just taken a huge victory on the broadcast table. 3 great positive scores to hop into first place overall, 50.3 before today's games. And in the games that, or rather, I guess this happened several hours ago, but in the games that happened, Lika did take a negative in the game 1, but Mio came back with a really strong first place, plus 50.4, and minus 16.2 in the second game for a slight negative overall on the day, but it wasn't enough to lose position. And we can see the standings afterwards. Still, Team WRC at the helm, in the lead, and it's Team Angel that's made up a little bit of ground, but still a gap right now. And this division is probably one of the closest ones.
Comfort, though.
Definitely.
Yeah, I was about to say. Yeah, there is no resting for you, Team WRC. You're going to have to work hard. That's...
A far cry from the huge lead that Team Ampai has.
Like 400, yeah.
If you're interested.
But, I mean, it's probably a suggestion that the group is very well matched.
Indeed, yeah. And here are the individual results for the Team WRC. You can see Mio is actually leading the team in number of games played with 7 games. And Lika, though, is currently leading the team after only 5 games, 35th in the league with a plus 81.1.
Got some games to make up as well, so maybe she'll be taking our banner onto the individual finals as well. That would be exciting to see us in both finals. Well done, ladies. That's amazing. And if you're interested for the Team WRC, Jen is from America originally, but obviously lives in Japan now. And Mio is originally from Korea, and Lika is originally from China. And that's partly why we built our team, to keep us very international and on brand with World Riichi.
And for folks who want to hear more, there's a couple of videos on the YouTube channel from the team itself that you can check out.
So we've already said farewell to Harrison, who you can see in Armel, a new commentator for our team, and we're very happy to have him on board. His internet handle is Suzo. I'm not sure if he's on Twitter or anything, but definitely on Discord if you're around there. He is. He's on Twitter. He's on Twitter, so you can go find him on Twitter. So I am gonna say farewell in a minute when we introduce Corak, but I am damaqueengem on most social media. I am WRC president and kind of a JPML pro.
Well, yeah, you earned your qualification.
I had my qualification.
You don't need to qualify that with a kinda.
Yeah, I ran back. I ran back to the UK and did WRC instead. So I did qualify, but if you have questions about how Mahjong goes in Japan, I definitely grab Jen when she's on stream and put those questions in the chat. I'm going to hand over to Corak in a second. Before I do, please do like and subscribe, and also click on the link so you can join our book giveaway. Jen's giving away books, signed books, good books, look, pictures of the books. And even the art is wonderful. So please do subscribe.
Very good.
Anyway, Corak, welcome. I'm going to step back. Thank you very much, gentlemen. A good final game.
Thank you so much to both Gemma and Harrison for the commentary there. Corak, welcome.
Hello, everyone.
We've got a very interesting game number 3 set up for us. The first 2 featured Miyauchi playing in both of them, and we're going to see her one more time. 1 second for those players to load. And some familiar faces here for the 3rd game in a row. Kozue Miyauchi will be representing Team Ampai. And did you get a chance to catch any of that 2nd game that got played?
I saw most of the South round.
That was the round to watch if you wanted to watch Miyauchi dominating. Absolutely. 2nd dealership especially was totally in control. From there on, was in no doubt that she was going to get a 1st place. We'll see if she can do this one more time. The dealer for this 3rd game will be Ai Yamamoto for Mahjong StudyxStadium, NPM player. In the south seat, of course, as mentioned before, once again, a JPML pro, Kozue Miyauchi. In the west seat, Aoi Bungo. We saw her before in game number 2 of the day for Team PSJ, another Nihon professional Mahjong player. And in the north seat, Yukiko Izumi for Hachioji Keio, another JPML pro. And we saw Team Ampai dominating the early series. It's really tough for the other teams to come back, and yet every game is another opportunity, and we'll see what happens as we get into this 3rd and final game for the evening.
Now, getting here towards the 3rd game of the day here. Everyone getting ready. It really felt like this group was 2 teams that were in the running and 2 that were just way back. Of course, a bit of a gap seems to have opened based on the first 2 here. 5 so's the initial Dora. Well, that feels like Kokushi. When you see that much disconnected garbage, your first thought is, well, is there anything? And the Chun pair up, maybe a Chanta route. Really hard to do much of anything altogether with this. And yeah, we see there with the overall standings, 420 in the positive, just complete domination. The big split between the two teams, and of course, the two sitting there at the minus 250, minus 300 are just pretty much out at this point. We are getting towards the end. The North there, and that seems to be a Kokushi play. We'll at least keep the option open. The one Mon will connect for a maybe some sort of Honitsu shift later, but just playing efficiency for now. The 8, not a great upgrade now that you have the 2, 4, 6, 8, but a lot of extended Kanchan in there. 6-so will loosely connect to the 8. The idea is to draw the Dora 5-so later. 3-pin will fill the Penchon, also gives the 3-4 shape.
Yeah, so far it seems
like 4.
Bunko perhaps with the advantage. And, you open up Yamamoto's hand as the starting dealer, you see that incredible mess of outside tiles. Maybe just playing Kokushi and aiming for a huge individual result here is just the route to go. You would have
there are always other routes on the hands like this. You can go Chitoitsu, you can go Honitsu. I always say that if your Kokushi attempt does not look like Honitsu, you did it wrong.
You always want to give yourself the option to make something that's already a low probability hand, like Kokushi, into something that can actually complete like a Honitsu. And wow, maybe this actually can come together now.
Yeah, you also have an interesting hand that doesn't come up very often, similar to Kokushi. There's a Honroto chance. You get another pair up there. Maybe you just start calling and going. There's our North call. Of course, get rid of these extraneous honors first. Could end up being Chanta, could be Honroto. Could, of course, just be the Honitsu, of course, the simplest way to complete the hand.
A second call already. Haku is in the grasp of Yamamoto now.
Ooh, nice upgrade there. Now I'm an Ishan 10. I'm not going to do anything. The 9 is not quite it. We'll hold as a relative safe tile. 7 is a pair up. Can brute force the Tanya out of this. Just going to cut the 4 for now, though.
Yeah, play straightforward. And I mean, play for Yamamoto is really straightforward as well. Just wait for pin tiles to fill into the hand, and that does cause the other players to be a little bit more cautious about cutting the pinzu, as it were.
It's just going to be a Chi. Move this towards the Tanya. Also has the 3 Dora, so don't have to worry too much about that. You're just going for your fastest route possible.
So I'm curious. In this spot, there were 2 options, right? She could keep the 2 for Mon Kanchan or keep the 5-7 pin Kanchan. And there's a question mark because the Pinzu is the suit of the Honitsu, and so that might be, you don't really want to drop those Pinzu, but at the same time, you don't want to wait on it because that player's probably holding some of your weight if they're storing up pin tiles. Do you like keeping that, or do you?
The other problem is that other people will also be holding them.
Yeah, they don't want to drop the
you don't really have any information on them as to whether in the wall, whether they're being held back by other players, whether Honitsu has them. But, I mean, just take your Riichi. Nothing fancy here. Riichi Pinfu, possible Dora, 5-8 so.
4-pin is an upgrade. If she draws into Tempai, she might be willing to jam out a 7-pin. It is very dangerous to the Honitsu player, but it is Genbutsu to the Riichi.
Oh, that's Tempai. This is a 3-6-9 weight where the 9 is no Yaku.
Going for the wider, or one of the wide options, rather.
Oh, just reach to up info.
And
that is 2 Uras. That's going to flip this to a Mongon level. Nice little pickup there.
Surely a little disappointment for the player with the Dora 3.
No, you don't have to have the initial Dora. You should flip Dora like that.
Exactly. The power of Riichi reveals itself once again.
One of my big annoyances is people that Dama Pinfus, and that explains why I hate people doing it. as you just have so many times where your cheap hand all of a sudden turns into a monster Mongon.
Izumi's going to have another chance with a pair of Green Dragon Dora.
All right, 6-0 Anko has the west pair and east pair as well. This feels like maybe some sort of 5-6-7 Sanshoku with some shifting, but hard to get everything. Have a Dora pair and a south pair. 9-man pairs up, can at least move the hand forward. 3-so is a great fill there. Could even just go Honitsu with this. 8-so fills in the Ryokan. Turns that to a 5 floater and a confirmed 7-8-9. One pin pair up. Ooh, you can cut the 6 for efficiency. You can cut, honestly, almost anything and locks the 2 in, so the 1 is a pair now.
These hands have been improving very quickly. Already Shanten for Bungo as well. And the south draw for Izumi gives her some Riichi options that don't rely on calling the Dora dragon.
You see the 9-man Anko up, now Ishanten. And okay, just going for the Honitsu. There's also a Sun Anko route now.
Impressive.
You're going to see the Dora come out, and it gets called. Ishanten.
Dealer has reason to fight here, also calling into Tenpai.
Yes, waiting on 6-so and East.
That's got value too. Double East, if it's 1 in that matter, along with Honitsu, is enough for
What is the
dealer
more
Mongon.
likely end? Because it's using one of the 6s in that chi already.
You gotta expect.
Oh, there's Senpai waiting on 3-6-so. That 1 pin definitely feels like a fold. Doesn't switch weight to the 5. Really wants this East. And I'm kind of wondering where that East is.
Yeah, certainly if Izumi draws it, it will certainly come out.
Oh, just draw it yourself. Easy game.
That's another 12,000 points straight to Miyauchi. It's been consistent all day long. She's managed to pull in these big hands, especially present during game number 2, but that good fortune has continued even into this third game.
Yeah, that's definitely the expensive side. We're looking at somewhere in the vicinity of 3,000 on the 6, but you get that East and it's 12,000. It's a bit of a difference.
And before...
A whole bunch of wins, but probably not a Sushushi. A bunch of disconnected tiles, maybe a Chanta, maybe a 79 Sanshoku. Possible Honitsu and Pinzu here, also a 3-4-so. 2-so pair up. You have a couple pairs, but kind of a messy hand. I figure probably regular Pinfu. Okay, there goes the south, has the north and west pairs. Can call. When you have 2 pairs like that, you're always incentivized to call for something, even if it just ends up being the very distant Honitsu.
I've seen a pair of a lot of these hands.
Pretty interesting. Goes ahead and moves the Sozu shape and just cuts it down. Wants to keep this Dora as long as possible. 9-so pair up. This almost feels Chi-Toy. The shapes are such a mess. Oh no, the backfire on the 5-so. It does complete the shape, but you'd also have a 3-4 if the 6 had been kept previously. There's our Chun Anko. So Yakuhai confirmed there. Can open later if needed. The 7, that was the draw that was being looked for. We'll now need specifically the 8-pin Dora indicator, but still a bit of distance from Tenpai. I see 2 of those 8, so it's going to be a very difficult tile.
Yeah, in the meantime, like if she's hoping for a backdoor Chi-Toy, that was also going to be problematic because Bungo is holding a pair of the 9 pins as well and opens up.
All right, I see Anko with a 6 pin. That locks the 8 pin as the pair and cuts one of the Ryuan, now Ishanten. They're going to hold the 1-so here. This feels like a Chanta play.
Yeah, you might as well give yourself a backdoor route to a different Tenpai.
Now, mine's a bit of a myth, but it can be called down. And that is now an Ishanten. And the Chun's live, so it may be held back, and that's probably just going to be a fold.
Right now, just floating the 7-so, the 1-so, hoping that something sticks to one of those tiles. And you'll notice the strange ordering in the sozu there to enable calls of various ways to be made easily.
Ooh, Chito Ishunten. I kind of like cutting the 7. Yeah, there it goes. Thinking the same thing. Because you figure the 8-pin is pretty dead. Of course, we know it's very weak. But it is Ishunten for Chitoitsu, and then you just wait on the 9.
Oh.
And there you are, just Ampai, Riichi Chitoitsu Dora 2. Waiting on that 9-pin. Of course, you see 2 of them here, so it's not great.
Go in the awkward
but it's
position.
also not dead, as there's Tempai waiting on 2 5-so for just the Chun.
Curious to see how long Izumi holds this Tempai. She had a safe entry with the West.
There's still 1 9-pin in the wall.
Oh, didn't have to
But
wait
that's
long.
going to shut this down. Just the Chun. Give me that stick.
Little bonus foo, but really, just a nice shutdown hand. Diffusing any pressure from the Riichi. Will move us into South3 Bungo. Will have her dealership.
Now we have the Haku pair here. You want to go Honetsu with this, but I think you just play regular. You also have a Chun Dora. Ooh. Kind of a disconnected mess. You're going to probably move towards a Pinfu, but there's just not much there. This is a lot of options to play. I mean, this is a very difficult hand because you want to turn it into Chinitsu, but at the same time, there's so many good floaters in the offsuit that you may just end up playing as a standard Riichi Pinfu Tanyao. Tumon connects with the 4 here, has a bunch of honors to get rid of. We'll cut the Penchon here. Interesting.
Was there an...
Okay, he's going for Chinitsu there. You see that 8-pin, 5-pin cut.
Yeah, I was wondering
so
the same
no
for
subtlety
Izumi.
here. We're just full sending. There's the call. Could be Honetsu, of course. The idea is to draw the Dora, pair it up, and you don't have to worry about too much else. But if it turns into the Chinitsu, great. Now you see that the Dora is pretty well split amongst these hands.
And also suddenly Izumi is disincentivized to cut any more Sozu. The bamboo tiles will probably be held for the remainder of the game.
Yes, everyone has one of the Dora. So this is a stalemate where what usually happens is the Chinitsu hand gets close, eventually says fine, throws, and everyone, oh, I guess it's safe, and they all come out at once. But the hand is a bit distant from that position yet, still.
Still has some decent draws to connect with, but most in the lower side, we can see a couple of those 3-so have already been discarded, so that would have been one of the ideal draws to fill out one of those shapes.
And even here, if you were just going raw efficiency, that door would have been cut instead of the 9-pin, but just doesn't want it, especially the open hand, especially with all those middle tiles. You figure oftentimes that's just the pair of the Dora, and you just want to squeeze it. The thing is, everyone else going to be in this position. It's going to just shut down all these hands. It's really about the only hand you could go for that Chun floater as a Chitoitsu. And you look at these hands, these are not Chitoitsu hands.
Very different from the previous hand for sure.
And even there, just not cutting the Chun, cutting the 9-7, moving way back. And this is the other part of Honetsu that I think a lot of players miss, is you don't have to have the goods. All that matters is everyone else is scared of you having the goods.
I can think of some players that I've had the opportunity to match up against that have a very distinct aggressively Honitsu playstyle, and you just never know if they have it or not. But the threat is almost more worth respecting than the actual hand itself. But that's
Ishunten here. I also may have been very guilty of this myself many times.
Yeah, can't wait 6-9 mon if you drop the Dora. But
Nope.
you're never going to drop the Dora, so
I
it's really just
feel
Ishon
that
then.
I feel if this turns into Itsu, you just go ahead and throw the Chun, and if you die, you die. But doesn't really want to do it for the Riichi Domi.
Also, of course, you can call the Haku and wait toward Tonki in the future, so that it leaves some incentive to maintain a Dama state, or even just not taking the Tempai immediately. It's back.
Well, that would have been the sumo. But again, just a live Dora. We're in row 3. Everyone figures it's just dead at this point. Everyone figures someone has a pair, and it's not you.
So many 6 mon.
This is the rarer situation, but can definitely happen where it just stuck it all. Oh, well, here goes Dora. I think you have to just take it.
Will the prediction come true? Are we going to see...
And you see that just meekly leans it forward, kind of pokes it there to make sure it clears, and it does. And immediately we see 2 more come out.
Yeah, almost all 4, but...
7-so Shampon.
Bungo did have a reason to keep hers, and now there's very little reason anymore other than just safety, so out it goes.
And yeah, that's the last one. Out it goes.
I'm still amused by the fact that this is exactly as you predicted it on, like, discard 3.
Yeah,
Chizu gets Tempai, drops
on
it, immediately followed.
Yeah, well, it's because everyone's terrified of the Honitsu hand, and that's just something that if you've played the game a long time, you will have seen before.
Ooh.
Switches this to the 5-7-so Shampon. Is that Toy Toy Tanya Baimon? I forget what all's off on the side.
Well, 3-so will clear. This 5-so will not. It's a little danger if Bungo draws
At the same time,
9-mon.
we've seen a Tune, we've seen the Overflow, we've now seen the 3-so Overflow. No, it's just the Chinitsu, so just a weight change there. But regardless, worth the 3,000, which is better than the hand was going to be otherwise.
So, small points exchange. Yamamoto still in 4th place, but is very close with Izumi, who now gets her first dealership.
And it's a little sad you don't win those, but at the same time, when you see that the June came out of everyone else's hand, you knew exactly what was going on. Of course, we can see the tiles, so that's how you predict that's what's going to happen. But especially in these pro games, they don't check live Dora, even mid-second row very often.
No, you really have to have a monster to take that kind of risk. And none of those hands were quite at that level to match the little risk that was required. Wow.
Confirmed Ipeko. That is technically Ishon 10.
Again,
I'd say technically it's guaranteed bad weight that you're not really happy about. Could very well be headless. Ooh, 6 is a nice fill there. Nice little Riichi Pinfu Tanyao hand. Also has a 3-5-5-6, so a 4, so it would really help. 9 pins a miss. 5-mon fills the Ryankan, also is now a floating 2. Could move this toward Honitsu later. 2-pin doesn't do much immediately, but it's a relative safe tile. There are a bunch of blocks you can build around with that 4-4-4 shape. Maybe potentially use it as a pair if you draw the 3, making the 4 your pair of 2, 3, 4, or of course the 2 itself. Well, 5, that's a great shape in Bonzu. With the Ryaman filled there with the 9-so. South doesn't do anything, so it's going to get thrown out. 1-mon not going to be held here. 3 connects with the 4, but the rest of the shapes aren't great. The plan is clearly do something with the Chun. We're kind of in the same situation where we have a Chun Dora, and the question is who's going to throw it first. But there are only 2 of them in hand so far.
A little Kutsuki situation. Sticky Shantan for Miyauchi. Get something connect to one of these, this 5-pin or the 6-so. Oh, and if she just retained the shape, would have found the temp by pairing up the 3-so, but of course you can't predict that.
No, it's just a matter of who progresses. A bunch of hands are very close. Oh, that is a beautiful shape, but just going to shift it over. Really likes his 5-pin floater. Trying to get a Sanshku out of it.
Ooh.
And I see an Ishanten upgrade.
Yeah, confirming the Dora in hand still.
Oh, backfire on the 4.
Would have been Tempai with the Ipeko as well. Actually, her choice of weights, but we'll probably have taken the Jiamen. And now there's another 9.
Oh my.
We don't need these Manzu.
Oh. It's just tragic to see all of them, though.
Yeah, certainly not the draws you're hoping to find. That,
7's
however...
a great fill. That's a Riichi. Looks like it was just Riichi Nomi, because, of course, we are still in East round.
Mm-hmm. The Pinfo, as Cairo likes to say. Would have heard his voice on yesterday's broadcast.
Well, I think you just Riichi the 5. It's not great, but what else are you going to do? Oh, it has the Dama here for the Peiko, but I just Riichi this. Because you have a one on board.
Yeah, this is...
Because if it's drawn by the Riichi hand, it just turns you to Mongon. It's like you're gating anything here.
Mm. The question is, like, do you believe someone else would ever cut the tune here? And if your answer is no...
No, then you might as well throw the stick in. I mean, maybe you lose 1,000, but I just feel there's so much extra value in it coming out. Oh, there's the Sumo. So just save the stick anyway, but Riichi Sumo. And I can't tell what that is.
I thought it was a 2-mon maybe, so 3-mon door. I think Uda was missed there.
Yeah, it looked like some sort of Manzu, but the focus is a bit off. Regardless, yeah, based on those scores, it's just the Riichi Sumo. And Yamamoto will get in 3rd place and will be dealer here at South 1.
All right, we shift over to the South rounds. Another opportunity to pick up 12K from Mongon.
Yeah, 2-mon Dora also means the 1-mon's the indicator, so it's really hard to do much with the Dora. You're really hoping for a 4 floater or a 3 floater rather than Dora necessarily itself.
How about a 1 floater?
I mean, it means you don't need it if you get the 2 or the 3, but it's not a fun shape to deal with. And you see, there it goes. And similarly, we might see the 1 also come out here. Yeah, 2 people thought the exact same thing. They hated it too.
Yeah.
The very early discard to that 1.
Now, of course, both players did have the 4-mon, so they still retained the door acceptance, but certainly not thrilled to be holding a 1-mon.
Yeah, there you see the Chun Pon just trying to go quickly. 5-mon connects with a 4, turns this into much more of a Pinfu shape. There you see the Haku pair-up is already called Chun, so maybe a Honetsu shift later, potentially. Would really love the Haku, of course. There are always backups for maybe Shosung, again, if a Hatsu's drawn.
And, of course, with the Jiamen shape in the Sosu, that 6-7 that's being held, and the majority of your other good shapes being in the Pinzu, if you're thinking Honitsu, you're going to have to likely cut that 6-7 later. However, it's...
well, that's abandoned plans. Now we have door
happening.
acceptance and another Rionman.
Yeah, so it's really a long shot. Of course, whenever you have 2 Dragon calls potentially you want to think about the potential moving to...
Oh, there goes the Haku. That's 2 Yakuai confirmed. I don't think it really matters much which of those Rionman is cut. Would you have 3 of them and you can only use 2 because you only need the 3 blocks. You will need to confirm your pair already in there. 4 so pretty much useless. Get rid of the 7. That 7 also dumped. North doesn't do anything, and everyone sees now 2 dragon calls. And in the back of your mind, you're always thinking, is there a Hatsu somewhere?
Yeah, scan of the board indicates none discarded.
Have any even been drawn? Also, that's a Dama Pinfu on 4-7.
And the 7 will come out. Yeah, that's definitely a little bit of caution. You don't want to be drawing and discarding a Hatsu without a green dragon without being able to defend. So he'll be shut down.
Yeah, just 1,000 here. The game's close. I'm the type of person that will still reach you that because I just don't believe it. At the same time, things can go horribly, horribly wrong. But I mean, looking at the team score, things have already gone pretty badly already.
That's true. I wonder to what degree it's affected by the fact that earlier today somebody actually did win a Daisungen on the broadcast table.
Well, it's definitely in the back of your mind whether you're admitting it or not in that situation, but it wouldn't stop me.
Fair enough. Neneko does take the 1,000-point snipe and is in second place, but Miyauchi with the dealership.
All right, looks like a whole bunch of Pinfu style hands. Not anything particularly notable. We do have one Hatsudora, but it's just floating, so it doesn't really do much here. Here's for 4, 5, 6 Sanshoku. 3 fills the run there for 3, 4, 5. The 5 connects with the 6, so you have your 5 blocks there. Similarly, now we have another pair up, so 3 pairs. But the West is one of them, and it's cut, so it may end up just dying here. We're going to see this West maybe held as a safe tile instead.
Yeah, the number of dragon doors that we've had in this game is actually really hard to play around.
We have 2 Hatsu floating Dora in the hands, which is just going to more or less shut them down. The question is when do you get rid of it. This hand is good enough. I might just throw it right now.
She starts
But
with 5 so.
5 so.
That's, one of the ways to hedge the door as long as possible. Break away from your extended diamond shape. Your 5, 5, 6 that has an extra 5 to it. Or rather, 5, 6 has an extra 5.
That's something people often do forget is you can end up using the Hatsu as your pair in a fake Pinfu hand. You just need to draw the other one. Oh, well, that's Hitoitsu. It doesn't have to be if 8 mana is drawn a couple times, but that's going to be very difficult to see one of those 8s come out now. Because there wasn't any Peiko out, but it just really feels Chitoitsu. And this 4 so makes these shapes amazing.
Good enough to drop the Dora.
Ugh, the Anko. So this should be the 5-7 because the best route to value is Sun Anko. The problem is the West is held. So it can never be Sun Anko in this hand.
The first green dragon comes out and not called.
And there it is. This is a Riichi Pinfu. Then in that 4-7. Not too much fancy there, but again, always an advocate of reaching your Pinfus.
Yeah, in this case, no Daisungen threat.
Do note that the Tumon is actually part of a 2-2-2-3-4, but is separated for visual clarity. Though you don't have to think about it as much. Gets the 8, hesitates on it, but no, that's not even close to the actual tile. Ooh, the question is, do you want to keep pushing for Toy Toy or Chi Toy here?
Yeah, how safe is this 9 mana?
Tuso is safe. I just throw the Tuso back. I'm just keeping my Ishunten. Because the value is still Sun Anko. And one of my big complaints about Chitoitsu is it's very difficult to call it down. you do have to draw that tile to get to Tempai, and I'm notoriously bad at that. It's one of the reasons I hate Chitoi.
Yeah, certainly, it's easier to draw tiles pairs for Chitoi the farther you are away from Tempai. Like getting that last one is statistically the hardest one. I wonder if she regrets not cutting the green dragon when she had a chance. Came out, she held hers, and now it's
Ooh, we
basically
see
trapped.
4 of the 8 so can hold off on this and con later if there is a need to break up the dealer, the last draw order.
Yeah, as long as she has a safe tile to discard, then that could be super strong play. Uh-oh.
Oh, well, broke away from the Sananko. The 7 is safe. Could 7-mon Dama here. Could also 4-mon Riichi. Yeah, we'll just Dama. The 7's already cleared. Oh, there's such an incentive to con here. And there it goes! This is Kutsuki. That's a 3-so 3-pin. But almost all 34. Oh, and a 4 Dora! It doesn't really matter, though. Oh, and
but she
speaking
draws
of
the original
Dora.
Dora. And she's out.
And it's out.
Oh no. It was looking so promising, and the one tile that she absolutely could never throw.
That clearly is not the look of someone who wanted to draw the 3-so.
No.
You looked at it and just stared, and then slowly pulled it down into the hand. This may just be a Tempai break.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be wondering what the con was for if you're not going to make a play after that.
Four fills here, but this is never going to be Tempai because the Dora is just never coming out. But that is the end of the hand. 1 player Tempai, and everyone sees the con. Oh, you probably drew something really bad for
Exactly.
Rid Shot. Well, funny story.
That will advance the dealership one more time, though. We move off of Miyauchi and straight into Bungo's dealership. Bungo in second place. These score lines are really tight. The closest we've seen out of all the games tonight so far going to South 3.
Yeah, game has moved pretty quickly overall. Haven't been a bunch of repeats.
Certainly feels like this has been the fastest moving game to South 3 as well. However, last time we had an extended South 3.
It could definitely happen again. Oh, well, just start with 4 5s. And it's noted that it's not immediately con, because with this shape, you can always draw the 4 or the 6 and then treat it as an Onko 5 and a Rionman run with a 4 5 or 5 6. So you usually don't con, especially middle tiles like 3 to 7 in this situation, but it may come out later. But a whole bunch of Pinfu type hands, maybe a 6 or 8 Sanshoku. This feels like a few pairs, maybe a later tune, and yeah, that's exactly it. Is you draw that 6, and now you just have the Anko and the run. Anko being the closed set. But let's see, the 2-so connects, can use a 3-so, but the hand's just a bit of a mess. East is a miss. It's that 1, 2, 3 Sanshoku. There goes the Hatsu. That doesn't really help. 5-pin pairs up, maybe a Chitoitsu eventually. Going to require some effort to get it anywhere. 4-mon pulls that into an Onko. Can use the 2-pin and 5-pin with a 1, 3, 4, 6-pin shape. 1 connects to a Kanchan there. Oh, the 4. That's a really interesting choice. Cuts the 1. It's definitely the most efficient. That gives you a 3, 4, 5, 5. But does feel like it moves you away from Chitoitsu, although it actually doesn't. It just feels like it does because it's going to push you towards a regular hand. Oh, there's the 1-pin pair.
Yeah, that's funny you say it that way, because certainly, you can still pair up anything, but once you have the completed sequence in hand, you mentally sort of think it's more realistic to complete your hand with a normal sequences and triplets patterns rather than pairs.
Well, the general rule for Chitoitsu is don't go forward unless you have to. because it does require you getting that final draw into Tempai, and then you're going to be stuck on a Tonki. And even if it's a really sneaky one, it's still just a Tonki wait in the end.
Ooh.
This is an Ishan 10. Gonna still hold this 7, so there is Dora acceptance here. 4 completes the run here with a 2-3-4.
Yeah, I'm thinking we're gonna see.
Oh, there's a Dora.
Oh, that.
And it's gonna float the Dora. There is an Itsu backup route, but it's gonna require a lot of effort in Mon. It feels like it may just end up being a fold. Oh, and if you're holding the 7, you kind of want to keep this 9.
Yeah,
and it's gonna be the play here. Cuts the 2, so. And it sees the 7. No, 8 so's my pair. It's Dora. Forget it. Throws it right back.
Don't want to hold that tile too much longer than you have to. Other players who have the Dora might need it. Expecting to see like really slow building Riichi hands. No one really has incentive to call here, except for maybe Bungo as the dealer to try to retain that dealership. And Miyauchi maybe is willing to open if she gets a chance at Tanya Dora 2 to extend the lead going into all last.
Ooh, the 9 Anko throws the Dora. And that's going to get called. It can just brute force this Tanya, cutting 1-3. Or 3-1 in this case. We've seen all the 1s, so it's a relative safe tile to a lot of people. That's normal that comes out first. And that is Tempai. Waiting on that 4-7 Mon for Riichi Tanya.
Ooh, so many held in the hand of Yamamoto. This is, of course, the reason why Miyauchi cut the 3-pin first, because the 1-pin should normally be safer than a 3-pin against an unknown Riichi player. Anticipated Riichi, perhaps. Ooh.
6, that is Tempai. Will be Atazuke on the 6. We'll throw the 5 here, of course. Waiting 6-9, but must win on the 6.
And now a choice for Bungo as well.
Uh-oh. The 6 may come out here.
It's the widest weight, but no.
Throws the 9. Good decision here. Takes the worst weight, but doesn't deal in as a result. Sees the Tanya Dora 3 and says the 6 is probably not going to deal in, but it could, so let's not chance it. And it is definitely the correct play because that did deal in.
The 7 so.
Similarly, this may see the 7 so.
It would be Tempai, but it's not really
saw the
safe.
8 pawn. It doesn't feel that good, but at the same time, it's just not worth anything.
Yeah, maybe if there was Sanchoku in that hand as well, you could.
Right, and that's what that 1-so cut is if I get Sanchoku, then sure, we'll throw it. But for now, meh.
And yeah, we're getting right out. We've seen Miyauchi really aggressive in these spots where she's got the value to fight a Riichi. Ooh, can even switch.
Could switch here, and we'll do so. Now, 7-mon, 6-pin, Shumpon. 7-mon would be double row, and of course there is head bump on.
Yeah, actually she had the choice to accept the Entotsu weight, cutting the 7-mon and having a 5-mon, 8-mon, 6-pin weight, which is normally, pretty wide. You might think that would be a good thing to do, but in this case, correctly reading that the 7-mon was dangerous to, and in this case, to 2 players.
You see 3 players Tempai here, so big swing.
Certainly might reduce the win rate.
2 players Tempai. I thought the 3 people pulled sticks out, and maybe just someone repositioning the Riichi stick.
It'll be Bungo as the dealer was one of those players who was Senpai, so it does get to repeat.
Now maybe a Hatsu pair here, maybe just call and go. There's not really any value in this end as of just yet. Few pairs here, but probably Pinfu type hand. We see a Haku pair up. bunch of pairs in that hand. No, you don't get to take that nice turn to Riichi, tilt the tile, wait a second, that's not right, fixes it. 8-pin turns that into a Kanchan with the 6-8. 4 pairs up, just a lot of flexibility in all these hands, it feels. They all want to Anko up, but the shapes just aren't really built for it.
Yeah, Izumi fortunate to have already Ankoed up the Dora, so certainly makes sense to just call this Hatsu and go. Should it come out, of course, Yamamoto holding on to one of those green dragons. It's going to take a while for Izumi to get...
Dora's 7, so... But you have 3 of them, so you don't have to think too hard about this. Question is, when that Hatsu going to get released?
Oh, it released?
And there's Dora just get thrown out.
Miyauchi says, I don't need this value. I like my shapes.
There we go. There's the call. This is now Ishan 10. Needs the 2-pin and the 2-5-so. There are also some upgrades in upper Sozu that may be able to get to a better weighting shape.
Yeah, I think that's
just a lot of pairs.
That's really notable, the 6-pin cut there. Not even anticipating to potentially wait on this 2-pin Kanchan necessarily if the So shape completes the lower So shape, because if you can fill the upper So shape first, you can cut the 1-pin, use the 7-so as the pair, and then have a 3-4-4 shape in your hand. That's also very pretty as well. So lots of flexibility with the way that she's gone about constructing this hand.
North Submiss doesn't really do anything here. 7-pin is the perfect fill. That's just going to be a Riichi. Waiting on the 6 for Riichi Nomi.
Yeah, and you might say Riichi Nomi's not worth it, but this has been, in this position, you're trying to extend your lead and send it to all last with the advantage. Miyauchi has always taken the route of applying pressure to the rest of the table. We've seen this all day long, so not surprised to see this.
Do see a call here on the 8, and we see 3 of those 6s locked up, and they're just not going to come out.
But in the meantime, that means Izumi has a good opportunity to fight. She did cut the 8-so on Ippat's turn. It shouldn't be an 8-so wait because
I believe
Miyauchi had discarded the door already.
Yeah, the 8's pretty clear here. Could also just cut the 6, but we'll go ahead and throw the 8. Gives the best route to the Chitoitsu, which is probably the best way to win that hand. 3 allows you to call this down, so it gives a lot more flexibility again in that hand. Doesn't have to shove the 7 though.
How do we feel about Suanko?
Oh, well, what about Suanko Ishunten? I'm a fan.
7-pin just
especially
cleared.
The 7. I'm just throwing the 4. I'm not even thinking about this.
Yeah, we can see 3 of the 2 pins, so 4 is like half Suji on one side and 1 chance on the other side, with 4-pin only dealing into the 2-3 weight if Miyauchi has the last 2 pin.
Are we moving to Toy Toy? Nope.
Well, this is just Ampai.
I think you just have to take this one. It's Sonanko. How many times have I said Sonanko this game?
Yeah, Sonanko, not really a Yako I'm expecting to see that frequently, but it's been here today. Oh, there's the 4.
We just keep getting the shapes for. This whole Hanchan has just been Anko up, and they were going to see the Chi Tempai 3-4 pin with those 3 hidden Dora. And of course, if the Riichi would have been there, that would have been the win. Don't know that Tuso would have come out of that situation, but regardless.
Now could even switch to 1-so, 4-so.
It is a better weighting shape, but at 18-3, that's the real reason I feel you had to take the Sonanko. But since the Tuzos come out now, you feel it's probably dead. I don't mind this one. I just didn't like the Dama before.
Ooh, this 5. So now we were going to reconsider how much we want this, and says, let's go.
Throws it out.
Gives Izumi a clear path.
Just got cleared. I'll just throw that one. Thank you very much.
Yeah, even though the value is not so big for Yamamoto, still has the Riichi stick to collect as well to get out of last place. Both Riichi sticks at that.
3 pins going to deal into the Tanya Dora 3.
And there's also the Riichi sticks from the previous round as well, so
but
5 in total.
Head bumped by the Tanya.
Oh no.
Wow. The 3-4 Shampoo shut down by the 3 Kanchan.
Oh no, that Izumi must be so disappointed. Had been anticipating a Mangan from the start, and you see your winning tile. From elation to pure disappointment.
Keep hand with the 5 sticks in the middle says thank you very much. And now not in control of this game, but in a much better position. Just that one Han right there. And may watch the broadcast later and go, oh my goodness. The head bump. If you deal in a double roan with that rule on, it only pays that to the first person on the right you deal into. So if multi-roan, it's the first person on turn order that actually gets the win.
Bungo is just the first in line for those points and all those Riichi sticks as well, and that puts her in a lead at 34,500.
All right, Chun pair up. Might go Honetsu, but unlikely. Pinfu hand, well, now 3 Dora has the south pair. The question is, what's the fastest route to winning it? It just cuts the 1 so for now. A bunch of floaters with those 5s. 3 connects to the 4. 2 pin doesn't really do much. Ugh, 3rd pair, but they're just hard everywhere to use. Just get rid of those terminals and honors for now. Oh, a mild backfire having cut the 1, but it doesn't really matter. Just throws the 4 back anyway.
And from Izumi's Dora Anko, we now have Yamamoto with the Dora triplet. Tumon locked away in hand for her.
Cuts from the Penchon. Doesn't like the overlap 5, 6, 8, 9. It's got the 9.
With the south pair as well, gives Yamamoto a good chance to open up for a Mangan. The problem is, Bungo is holding all of these honors.
And is brute forcing Honetsu.
So it's going to be a while for
has
it to come
all
out.
of these honors, so it will come out eventually. The question will be Tenpai closed anyway by then. It may just being a pension wait.
Yeah, this is the interesting spot. If you drew 5 so or 8 so now, you could slam the Riichi on the 3 pin. That's come out once already. Or you could cut the 1-2 and try to draw something better, but this late, I think it's normal to just
+3,
slam.
I would not think very hard about this.
Yeah, a question always comes into my mind, like, how early does it have to be for you to break that Tenpai? And maybe the answer is never. You just slam the Riichi with Dora 3.
Well, 3 Dora, I'm generally not thinking very hard. Now, you can just cut, the 5 pin is the normal cut here. You can still call the south. You can even call the 3 pin and go Atazuke, and that's fine.
Certainly, when you call that 3 pin, the rest of the table questions.
Will be alert.
Yes.
Yeah, it's okay. Is it just the 3 home, or is there some surprise we don't want to find out about?
Because you really
there are hidden Dora here.
Yeah, you're really not expecting the last place player to open up for something cheap, so the alarm bells start to ring.
At the same time, even if it's 1 Dora, then that'd be fine to deal in for, say, 29. It's if there's a pair, or especially an Anko like this, that it's going to be disastrous. 8, and there's our Tenpai. This is Riichi Dora 3 waiting on 3 pin, and we see a bunch of 5s out. The 3 actually looks really good at the wall here.
Certainly the monk. Oh, he popped.
Oh, there's one of them. How good is it in the wall?
Can they be back to back? Not quite. It was another pin tile, but not the 3-pin.
Yeah, no, that was the second 3-pin in the entire wall.
Yeah, there's still 2 left. Call from Miyauchi for Tenpai, Tanyo Tenpai.
4, it's close, but that's not it.
Oh,
Miyauchi there it is! There it goes!
Riichi, Dora 3, Uda missing here. That will be a Mangan.
4 on to 5 doesn't really matter, but that's a huge Mangan win. Yamamoto into second place. Miyauchi swaps positions, drops a last now, and we're in all last.
I think in this series, Miyauchi's been playing really aggressively in scenarios where the player she's fighting against is one of the people in the one of the teams in the super negatives, thinking, okay, if they win points, even if I'm losing points, that means that the team that's in closest contention to me is not gaining points. In fact, they might be dropped down the standings. However, dealing into a Mangan might be a little bit more expensive than she wanted to because this drops her into last place. So we have a very tense situation now. In all last, Izumi the dealer, with it all to play for, needs to pick up about 14,000 points exactly, actually, to tie it with
Bungo. That
Hatsu
pawn. So maybe go Honitsu with this. That'd be a route to value. But especially if Izumi can pull out first here and keep Miyauchi in 4th place, it's a, 80-point swing? You can start actually chipping away at that gap, but it's still 300. You're running out of gauge. You have to go first, 4th a bunch of times in order for this to happen.
Quick check of points.
I think they're asking for change. Yeah, there it is.
Small adjustment.
Yeah, I saw 1,000 and a 700, so someone probably forgot a Homba.
Oh, that's a nice draw.
That is Chitoi to Ishan 10.
Appreciate lifting the tiles to quickly check and see if you've drawn before. It's always good to do when there's a disturbance in the game flow. It's easy to lose your place. You don't want to draw
pair. So now we see double dragon calls. Also a nice little Honitsu. And I don't think that white's coming out anytime soon.
Yeah, this is the hand for Izumi if she can put it together.
Oh, well, okay then.
Suddenly, things have gotten very exciting indeed.
We have an Ishan 10 here as well, and routes to possible Suanko if you get another Anko up.
Just...
Five. Well, I think it's just Tenpai, and everyone knows it's Tenpai when that comes out.
Right.
Waiting on that 8, so will be Mangan.
And Sumo here is first place for Izumi.
See, the South is called down. This is Tenpai on 7, so. So a 7-so weight versus an 8-so weight.
Ooh, there's the 8-so, but
well, now it's an 8-so, 3-so weight. Oh, there's the 8-so. You see the hesitation on it.
Yeah, it does not want to get rid of that.
It doesn't the 8 deal a double run at this point?
At this point, it would. So Izumi is last in line if Yamamoto drops it. That means she would get head bumped off of the win. Oh, but that's Tenpai.
Uh-oh. I think it just comes out here. There it goes. Double roan.
Again. And once again, it's Bungo.
But the head bump, the cheap hand wins it. And you see the look of, are you kidding me?
The second time in this game that Bungo has head bumped Izumi off of a Mangan win.
Hey, we'll end up first place with 45.5. Second place, Yamamoto with a 5.2. Izumi, just look at the despair there, minus 19.5, and Miyauchi couldn't get it together there at the end at minus 31.2. Oh no, I hate the Tamahane, and that's why. Because I've been that person multiple times.
Oh, it's absolute tragedy. And you sit there in third place looking at the person who took all of your points, who got the first place finish as a result. It's just, what could you do? You built your hand, you found the weight, it came out, you won the hand, except you didn't. You were sitting in the wrong seat. And that's all it comes down to.
There's nothing you could do about it. You just built the beautiful Mangan, and that what everyone knew basically what you had. You saw the long hesitation of the H of the previous turn, didn't throw it, so this is awful, but then just gets a tap and says, okay, fine, I have to shove it, and deals the double roan, and pays 1,000, and similarly, we'll look at that one in the VOD, and go, oh, okay.
Turns out that was a great play. She confirmed second place. You wouldn't think that dealing into dealer Honitsu would confirm second place, but somehow it worked out in her favor. So, well, congrats to Bungo for the huge first place, and that finishes up the series for the evening. Let's take a look at the standings as they existed before the games started today. These would have been the early session 11 results. Team Ampai had the lead. It was a dominating 220-point lead over Hachoji Mahjong Keio. And the results of the day featured...
Yeah, you could make up 220, but you have to actually make it up, and that just didn't happen here.
Ampai with another positive performance, outpacing Team PSJ at a rate of 32.8 to 24.2. Miyauchi staying at the table the whole time through. Had a huge second game, and that's what propelled her to the positive score here.
Yeah, just Sumo, the 87.5 takes clears out a fourth and a reasonably bad third. But one game, and just the overall table winner today, just from that one game, even with a fourth and a third, shows how absolutely dominant it was.
Yeah, all the players that played multiple games ended up with a pretty even score, all things considered. Bungo with a slight plus, Miyauchi with a slight plus, Okubo with a slight plus, but in the end, it is Team Ampai who advance even further now. The gap is 270, so picking up.
Yeah, and you're running out of time at this point. You don't say it's over, but it's looking pretty over. Especially Mahjong Study Session and PSJ. You're really looking for individual results at this point. If you're Keio, like, maybe something can happen, but it's almost 300. That was really, you had a chance in that last game to, if you could go on a dealer run in South 4 and keep Team Ampai in fourth place, maybe you could make up some gap here, but wasn't to be, and feel like Ampai's heading to the playoffs.
Certainly would seem that way. Speaking of individual standings, we do have a list of some of the top players individually, and some highlighting depending on the number of games that have been played. Of course,
we do see that 14 there on the top right, Takashima, pretty much in the books at that point. I believe they what, 16 total.
Yeah, that's.
Or I guess it can depend on your team that you can play as many or as few as you want. I believe there's a minimum requirement for a team member, but you definitely rack up some points.
In this case, 10 game is the minimum number of games that you need to play to qualify, and a number of these players have hit the mark. Notably, the second place player, Yonashiro, is actually missing a few games, has accomplished this incredible plus 257.8 in only 7 games. That's actually incredible for her.
The power of that first place bonus with the Oka, just plus 40. Doesn't take too many games like that to get a crazy score.
Yeah, some names that will be familiar to a lot of players, especially M League fans, are present on this board. And Wow, Tojo actually with a top set in the 17th place here with only 4 games as well. Matsuda in 20th place with only 4 games. So a number of these players are doing it with seeing limited playing time.
Gotta make them count, but as mentioned, do have to get that 10 games in eventually. So we'll see how the leaderboard shakes up in the coming weeks.
And of course, the green highlighted players are the players that played today. So Miyauchi playing 3 games as well today certainly helps her cause. That being said, we have hit the end of the night. Thanks everybody for subscribing to the channel. Of course, our giveaway is active. We hit our goal at the end of the last year. So for those of you who have not yet made that subscription, there is a opportunity to win some books, especially Jen's new book with a wonderful cover art. And of course, in order to qualify for that, there's an easy sign-up form linked in the description of this YouTube video. So hop in there for subscribers to register for that giveaway. You definitely will not want to miss out on the opportunity to get some Mahjong resources.
Yes, and we will be back here in 2 weeks because, of course, next week, Nathanael and I will be in New York City for the ARA Invitational for WRC qualification, but we'll be back on Yukan Fuji Cup in 2 weeks and 3 weeks. So back-to-back weeks of broadcasts here, and we hope to see you then.
Very good. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Thanks again to Gemma and to Harrison earlier today for their wonderful commentary. And we'll see you again in a couple weeks.